Everybody, welcome to Cocktail Time. It is Friday night. It is here at 4Player Network. And that can only mean one thing, of course, is that it is time to drink and time to talk about video games and all sorts of mildly entertaining sort of things. Everybody, welcome to Cocktail Time. I'm your host, Joseph Christ, here at 4Player Network, and with me, as per usual, is Mr. Bob Webb. How are you, Mr. Bob Webb?
Tired.
Tired? Are you tired? We're gonna talk about why. We're both a little tired. It's been a long week. And Chris Davis, how you doing, Chris?
I'm doing okay.
We're about 8 minutes late because Bob decided it was a great time to show us this wonderful clip, this old clip of Conan O'Brien that had to be from the 90s. It had to be from anywhere from 93 to 97. 97, was it?
Yeah.
And apparently Conan was like, he's always been a little out there, but apparently in this episode, he did a whole show where he had an audience filled with children. It was just children. And the grand finale of the show at the very end was called Parade of Birds?
The Sick Exotic Bird Parade.
The Sick Exotic Bird Parade, where he had people in bird outfits coming down the aisles with confetti flying through the air, and the birds would stop and then vomit upon the children. I am not fucking making this up. I didn't believe Bob. I said, Bob, you have to be misremembering this. This has to be a distant memory that has now been mutated by years of alcohol abuse and working long hours and looking at code. Has to be not right. And then he's like, no, I just found it. Here it is. And it starts, he just put the link into chat. It starts at around 10 minutes. It's a long clip, but around 10 minutes is when this happens. And there actually are people in bird outfits coming down the aisle to confetti, and then they're vomiting on the children. And what I think I like the most is the look of shock on the children's faces when it happens, because they do not expect it at all. It's pretty amazing. And it just goes to show why I love Conan O'Brien. Really?
Yeah, this is I used to watch him a lot back in late 90s, and this is the only things I really remember of his shows.
Yeah. I know.
A dude in a bald eagle suit vomiting over a small child.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And what time was his show on?
Oh, it was like 11 or 12 at
so
night.
These kids are already up way late.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the show's...
They have to be taping it during the day.
Yeah, they pre-tape them. You're right. I forgot about that. They're not live. So, kind of amazing. All right, how are you guys doing? How you doing, Chris? We know Bob is tired. How are you, Chris Davis?
I'm doing all right.
Doing okay?
It's been a good day.
Why is it? Has it been a good day?
Well, I got the podcast episode done.
Uh-huh.
And we also had some great news this week that we'll need to go over later.
We have a lot of news this week. We'll be going over and stuff. But let us first do our toast of the week. Chris Davis, why don't you start?
Okay. My toast is going out to something that we'll be discussing in the news. But a little announcement about a little-known developer called Machine Games. Was made this past week, and it concerns their newest game, Wolfenstein: The New Order. And turns out it's going to have beta access to the new Doom game.
That is insane. Let me tell you something. I owe you an apology, good sir. I will stay here, and I will eat my words, and I will eat my crow heartily, because I've given you tons of shit about Doom and the next Doom game, Doom 4, supposedly not existing, and saying that you were putting all your eggs in a basket that wasn't there, hanging your heart on a Thai bride who would just leave you 3 days after she gets her American visa. But no, sir, Doom is actually coming. So congratulations.
I appreciate it, and this isn't a gift for me. This is a gift for all of gaming.
Right.
Really.
Well, we'll see. We haven't played it yet.
Tonight I am drinking several tasty beverages. I have my standby Snapple. I have a Cock and Bull ginger beer.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, I've seen those.
I hadn't tried it before, but it sounded interesting. And I've got a concoction of peach tea and vodka. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, peach, that sounds actually kind of good, actually. So, all right, cool. I'll go next. Oh, so I am drinking tonight. I have a twisted tea I am drinking, and I have some Rasputin, my old standby. So that's what I'm drinking. And what am I toasting tonight? I am actually toasting tonight to my fellow workmates over at Next Gen Pants for something we're going to talk about pretty soon. But I just want to put it out there. My toast goes out to Bob and Jeff and Matt, my fellow Next Gen Pants employees, quote unquote. So there you go. And Bob.
You caught me right in the middle of a burp.
Oh, good. Just let it out, baby. Just let it out.
Just chew it back. Oh, man. So tonight I'm drinking, I went by the store, I picked up a nice little, it's 1 quart of Lagunitas Sucks. They made a beer, it's the brown sugar substitute ale, when they couldn't meet their quarterly, or their yearly demand for making their brown sugar year, which is a seasonal beer.
Right. So
they made a substitute called Lagunitas Sucks, and it's just an excuse for not having enough ingredients to make this one beer. It's good. It's a really nice hoppy ale that they do. And I've talked about Lagunitas before. They're based out in Petaluma, not too far from here.
Oh, cool.
And they are tasty. For my shot, I've got just a shot of vodka. And what am I toasting? Aside from the awesome shit that's happening over at Next Gen Pants, I guess I could toast to Respawn Entertainment, because they had a pretty phenomenal beta for Titanfall this last week.
They did. We haven't talked about Titanfall here on the show yet. Well, we'll do that tonight, but I loved it. There's things I like and things I don't like. We'll get into that. So, all right. So let's do our toasts and one.
Wait, you.
I did mine already.
You did yours?
Yes, I did. I toasted my fellow workmates at Next Gen Pants, and
I'm sorry.
Rasputin?
That's okay. My Rasputin?
I got slightly distracted.
That's okay. I do that all the time. All right, 1 and 2 and 3. All right.
That is really crisp.
Very nice.
Very unexpected.
I like a really good tangy and crisp ginger beer. Ones that bite back. Those are the best kind of ginger beers.
This one definitely has some bite to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how should we do this? Should we get into some gaming, or should we just talk about the Next Gen Pants thing right off the bat? Like right off the bat?
You want to get right in? You just wanted to get right to the pants.
Should we just go right? Like
no.
Get rid of
foreplay.
No foreplay.
Just thrust right into
just
the pants.
Stampede toward the clitoris, as they say.
Oh yeah.
All right. Sure. So we'll just say it. So basically, we got word a few weeks ago, or a little while ago. We were under embargo until the announcement, but we're going to be showing Next Gen Pants over at GDC 2014 in San Francisco next month, March 17th to the 21st. So we're going to GDC and showing off the game, and it's going to be fun.
We're showing off Tetropolis, not Next Gen Pants.
Did I say Next Gen Pants? Did I say that?
He said Next Gen Pants.
Shit!
Yes, you did.
I messed it up.
We're not showing any Next Gen Pants.
We're not showing any Next Gen Pants. We're showing off Tetropolis at the thing. It's you know what it is? More than anything else, it's terrifying. I think it's an overall sense of terror and dread that's overcome me.
On one level, I mean, if you guys get into PAX, I don't know if y'all heard back yet or not, but if you guys got into PAX, I mean, there is that public perception. But then when you're at GDC, you're showing it off to fucking fellow developers.
Right.
That's a whole other critique there.
Right. It's like the smoke and mirrors don't go as far with developers because they know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas, just gamers are like, oh, okay, cool, but developers will pick out little things like, oh, I see your textures repeating in the background. Like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Huh, you reuse this asset a lot, don't you? Yeah.
Man, that idle animation, y'all really like that, don't you?
We only have one. I literally have one idle animation in the whole game.
Yeah.
But that's all you really need, I guess.
Well, it is a square.
It is. Well, there's, so what we do have is we have a trailer. We made the first trailer for the game. It's the first version. There's probably going to be more trailers and stuff, but we can show that. Can we show that? We figured out how to do it. Let's see. We do this, right? Here it is. Okay, so it's actually all the way forward. We watched it, and now it's... Okay. Oh, people aren't going to really hear it, though. That's the problem.
Oh, really? They won't be able to
because
hear
they can only hear it from the other thing. But we'll just play. Fuck it. We'll play it anyway. We can
do some some real time.
Put your mic next to your speakers or something, Bob. Let's do that. Some real.
We just talk through it, I guess.
We could. We can pause it and stuff.
Or you could try, reenacting the music.
No, Jeff made some very nice.
Yeah, that's exactly what Jeff thinks.
He's gonna get mad. He's gonna get mad at us.
He gargles into a mic and then he fucking remixes it.
He does. It's like Guar. Guar did an interview once, and they said they write music by slamming their genitals against the guitar strings, and so whatever comes out is what happens. So, I guess. Fantastic. So can you put your mic next to the speaker so they can hear this?
Oh, it's gonna sound awful.
I know. That's fine. Well, to show it here,
just do like a window capture.
No, not really. We'll show it here because it's on different things. It's complicated. We'll show it here, and then we'll just put the link in the chat. How about that?
I linked the blog post.
Oh, okay. So here's the trailer. We can watch it. Very early alpha. We'll do the backward commentary.
The disclaimer.
Here it is. There's our little block going through stuff, going through the Tetropolis itself. So we have skills where you can break stuff, and there's a control room, and through the control room you can change the level around, and there's one of the NPCs, and so as you're changing the level around, you get new pathways, and you can do things like start machinery and kind of sort of find your way through the level. And right there is so that's one of our shape. Let me play that again. It's one of our shape changing things. So you go. It doesn't work. Here we go.
You need to pause.
I know. So he kind of goes up and he switches shapes and time slows down, and then when time slows down, he can defeat enemies with his slam ability type of thing. This app really sucks for doing this.
Yeah, I'm fucking with the slider. So
oh, we're both fucking with the slider. That's the problem. So, and there you go. And so let me fuck with this one more time. So at the end, you can see when you move pieces around, the contents of the rooms will shift and the boxes will move around and stuff like that. So yeah, the map is also a Tetris map, and then you're moving stuff around. So that's it. That's what we're making. That's the game we're putting together.
Well, I think one of the first questions people are going to have to ask is, what happens when you complete a line on the giant Tetris map?
The computer blows up. There is no line. You're not actually playing Tetris, but they're Tetris blocks that you move around to sort of create new pathways. The funny thing is that one of the first versions of the map editor, we actually did have it play like Tetris, where the pieces would drop in, and as the pieces dropped in, you had to place them right, and it was awful.
I have 3 iterations on that editor. This was the final one we went with is the 4th. I think the 4th one we were doing.
It was the 4th one because
it was bad.
Yeah, it
was really bad.
Yeah, we just figured that we needed to give the player as much freedom to move stuff around as possible, and doing the thing where when pieces just dropped down, you had to place them at that point just wasn't flexible enough, really. So.
Yeah, it's fun to work with this kind of stuff because it was Tetropolis came from the joke that I think it was Jeff and I, or one of us, came up with the idea of a mashing genres and mashing like a falling blocks genre with a Metroidvania. And we called it a Tetroidvania,
right?
And that was the joke for about a month, and then I was in the shower one night, and I was like, God, how would a Tetroidvania actually play? And then that's when I came up with the idea. I was like, oh shit, you actually you play as the piece, and then you can change into the other pieces, and they have all these other abilities and shit. And then I in an hour I whipped together a demo, which I think I showed to you guys, everybody at the F4 player early, the beginning of last summer. It was last April, I think.
Yeah, very, very early. Yeah,
it was really early. Yeah. I actually have a screenshot tucked away in my email. Of the very first build, and it looks awful.
Well, it was such a pure alpha type of thing.
It wasn't an alpha; it was a proof of concept.
It was a proof of concept, yeah.
It was, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And then that from there, it was then I put it through. I had the concept, and I was like, oh, there it is, and we didn't touch it again for probably another 4 months. We didn't start working on this full time until September or October. Mm-hmm. We've only been kind of on and off developing this since October, and I've only been on full time since the end of January.
Yeah, yeah. There hasn't been
we've made a lot of progress.
There hasn't been a ton of development time put into this just yet.
Yeah, actually, Jeff's here if you want
to. Oh yeah, Jeff, you want to come on in? Is Jeff on Skype?
Yeah,
let's pull him in. So we're gonna pull Jeff in. Jeff is the. There he goes. He's doing the music and helping with design. You guys all know Jeff. So he comes in.
It's kind of weird that we're this was not the game we intended to make.
Did you guys have something in mind and this sort of took it over, or what were you actively do? Unless you don't want to say, just keep it on the back burner.
Well, we may actually end up the idea has been kind of morphing a little bit, and I may end up actually eventually doing it. I'm just going to see if I can get Jeff in.
Said call failed.
But we were working on a different type of game. The original game was a weird top-down type espionage type shooter game, but it was just too difficult to work with. We were doing 2D sprites and in 2D. We were using Unity 3D with a 2D engine before they supported 2D. They just recently started supporting 2D, within the last 4 months. So we were using some kind of a third-party tool. It was over the network. It worked. It was kind of weird. Mm-hmm. Then it shifted into kind of a more tablet-centric touch game.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we'll end up doing it eventually, but I don't know. It's one of those games where it requires multiple people. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think you guys might have played the demo for this.
No, I played the only demo I ever played. The old demo I ever played was the multiplayer Tetris game.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was because the idea is that you're working with. Is that Jeff? He's got his stuff together.
Hello?
Hey! I was just talking about our old prototypes before we started on Tetris.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea was a lot of fun, but it only ever worked in a multiplayer environment, and you have to have at least 2 people. The more people you have, the better.
Multiplayer games are hard to get right. With networking and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's a hard sell because it's you have to sell multiple copies or you have to make it free to play to have multiple people want to play it.
Joseph, you were introduced to this project at the perfect time. If you were introduced earlier, you might have a different heart than you do at the moment. It was so much constantly trying to build enthusiasm for an idea that you're not quite sure, what it is, and then trying to find people and still getting together and just trying to actually start the engine before the engine even is anything. It was crazy.
It seems like a game, and it seems like a game like that. You need to have almost the entire thing worked out on the whiteboard first, and then you get excited about it, and then you actually start putting the code together and actually making it. You know what I mean? Because it's so much.
was
so
very
many parts.
ambitious.
Yeah, I think
It
something
was super
simpler is probably
ambitious.
better.
But I didn't know you were going to talk about that, but like that specifically, Bob. The espionage game. I thought you were going to talk about more of the smaller stuff, like some of the earlier like touch stuff we were discussing.
Which earlier touch stuff? I can't
Like
remember. We did a
mini
lot
game,
of
the
prototypes.
mini game collection. We were going to do like
Yeah. That's the yeah.
yeah, we're gonna do like a WarioWare, like a really silly, like kind of like, you know, making fun of mini game, and that fell apart as well. So
Well, it's rough when you don't have a really clear direction. I mean, even Tetropolis, it started as a joke, and it didn't really become a full idea until Joseph started working on the project probably back in September or whatever, and that was oh great, we got a spam bot.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Porno.
back a long time ago.
oh yeah,
6 months ago, maybe even like 5 months. And we had started on this idea beginning of last year. It's almost been a year since we came up with the concept, and just now we have like a solid demo and a gameplay, and I know we have a very solid direction for the game. So it took that long for the idea to be like finally come up out of this kind of really obscure area of like, what the fuck would this thing be?
Right.
And now it's like, well, this is exactly what it's going to be.
Well, I think the cool thing is like with something like Tetropolis, we're really cutting our teeth on it, and then once we get through this and whatever happens, if it's hopefully successful, even if it's moderately successful enough to get us to the next project, even then we'll hit it a lot. We'll hit all our steep speed bumps now. And one thing I was thinking about this today is even with just making the demo, right, for GDC and the demo for any other conventions we do, this is sort of a vertical slice. This isn't actually the game yet. And I think this is good because we're sort of hitting all of our stumbling blocks now, and how do we do this, and how do we do that, what's the best way to do this, what's the best way to do that. So once we start actually like, okay, here's our entire scope for the big game, how do we attack this, I think we'll have much more in our tool set to hit it correctly.
And that was very much intentional on my part in making a complete vision, like having a completed product for PAX, because it allows us to go through that whole process of getting the prototype into a form that's playable, and then getting it polished. And imagine probably in the most we're almost, I think content-wise, we're pretty much done on it. It's just cleaning up and polishing for the next 2 months.
Yeah, I'd like to see
that's most of the project.
I'd like to see a few more puzzles put in there. That's a couple of the other puzzle ideas we have.
Well, not in the demo. I think we're gonna. Yeah, I don't know. That's a discussion for Monday.
Yeah.
This is I'm like super proud of like what we accomplished, because I've been sitting with Bob for what seems like forever now, like trying to like design a game on paper, you know what I mean? And like this is a very ambitious project. Like in order for this, in my heart, like speaking to like our community members as like the kid who plays games here, like in order for this to end a 9 or a 10 in my own heart, even as the as a creative force in this project, like we really need to blow our own minds with the idea. And I think we already have a couple of those ideas that kind of, when I sit back and I think about them, I'm like, oh man, if I didn't know about this, like that would be really something that really would excite me about this game. So, but we do have a ton of work, and it's exciting. I'm really happy. I'm super happy for today and all the news and stuff. So
one thing I keep on thinking about is like, man, imagine how much stuff we could get done and how much progress we could make if we could just all walk into the same office together every day and be like working,
all be full time,
and be like all working together over each other's shoulders, and be like, oh, what are you working on? Oh, that's cool. Maybe we try this, and it's just like there's something to say about that type of work environment, and I'm hoping that eventually down the line we, either we get lucky and that sort of thing can happen, or at least we find some way to do that over a long distance sort of way where we can do that easily, or find tools to do that easily,
Yeah, that kind of work environment would be, man, that would have this game like, being produced at like 10 times the speed that we do now. It's hard to keep your mind in the game when we go to a 9 to 5. Or in my case and your case, Joseph, like, I'm waking up early to go work construction, then I'm getting home at 6 and coming straight here so I can get on Skype so I can talk to you guys, right. While I'm eating my dinner. Like, it's a lot of work. Yeah. And like, I think it's super important to let like people that don't, like, kids and all the criticism that we have for video games. It's like, this shit's hard as fuck. It's hard to make great games, yeah. and that kind of stuff takes a lot of work. And I agree with you, Joseph. I would love that. That's like a dream job if I could wake up to you guys in my face every morning at a whiteboard. You know what I mean?
Like in your bed, like we're all cuddling. We're all like,
wake
scooting.
up,
wake up, Jeff. Time to go to work, baby. I wish I could wake up to you guys every morning. I just wish I could get up every morning feeling the warmth of your arms around me.
A soft peck on the back of my neck.
Oh, does it get me up in the morning?
Whispering deep into my ear that I need to take out the garbage.
It's your turn.
Yeah.
No, but I think we're doing really well. I'm excited. I'm very much excited for the future. I know what you mean. Like, for me, like, I'm trying to work at home as much as possible so I can get, models done and art done and that kind of stuff. And it's like, there's a delicate balance to where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm totally working on that report, and I'm like in my doing stuff, and it's just
Well, for me, what prepared me mostly going full time indie is that for me the last 3 weeks. I'm at the end of my third week of having quit my job. It doesn't feel like I've quit.
Right.
Like,
well, that's good.
It's weird. It's just a continuation of sort of my lifestyle. Is because I would actually take time off of work, unpaid leave, to work on the game.
Yeah.
And work on shit. So it would take a week off, probably about every other month towards the end. Towards the end, I didn't take off any vacation for the last 3 weeks because I was trying to finish projects. But I would work from home. Like, my job allowed me to work from home once a week. Mm-hmm. And I'm used to working from home.
Yeah. I actually work from home a lot. I'm kind of used to it as well. You kind of wake up in the morning and you sign in and you start doing your stuff and you go get your coffee, and it's just it's part of the process.
Totally. Yeah.
And at 11:30, I take a shower.
For like 8 years, I've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just and I've been working for a company for 8 years, and then one day working from home and having that schedule of being like, okay, I'm going to work from 9 to 5. I'm going to focus on this, and then after 5, I'm done. I'm just going to do whatever and relax. Mm-hmm. And that's been, for the most part, pretty easy to do. Not from last night, because I got back on and at like 9 o'clock and started making a fucking trailer. Was up until 2
So what happened with that? So did you just get a word, like a late email saying, hey? I just got
a late email. I was like, hey, do you want to like make a trailer for your game? Because you're like one of the few people who don't have a trailer. I was like, fuck.
Right.
Let's see.
I got up out of bed. I fell asleep watching TV in bed. It was like pretty early, you know what I mean? Like 11:30
mm-hmm.
and on my East Coast time. And, I get up out of bed and I go over to the iPad and I just open it up and like check everything that I missed. And I see the email thread that we were sending about, and I hit up Hip Chat and Bob's in there. So I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, I'm working on a trailer. And then I'm like, shit. Like, that trailer's going to need music. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? Like sift through the public domain for like some like 1930s like. What are we gonna do? So I'm like, all right, screw it. Let me cook something together at 1:00. I just woke up, but let me see what I could do before I go back to bed. And like, I kind of just like, it just came together. But like that, like just stumbling onto stuff like that and like getting stuff done is at any given time. Like I told you guys once, like I'm totally okay with like you texting me if you need me at some point.
2 a.m.
Like, to make sure, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like as long as I got a little bit of a nap, like I'll be okay. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been crazy for the last the last week or two. I think we heard back about the GDC about a week or two ago, maybe. So we've been we had to keep pretty damn quiet up until now, and I'm glad we can talk about it now. It's always like one of those things. It's like, I want to fucking tell everyone we're going to be there. We're going to be showing our game. It's going to be awesome, but I can't.
Right.
Because they have to do their announcements, and then it's like, God damn it, why is there embargo?
Yeah, and I have friends.
It makes sense.
I have friends that are going to be there. And I was like, I can't tell Josie that I'm going to be there and stuff.
I want to start coordinating things. I want to start sending people emails. I want to start talking to people. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Can't.
I know. Josie, who works she's a programmer for Cast AR. She wants to get drinks at some point.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. I thought I saw that.
Which is weird. Is that they don't get there till the 18th.
What? That's like the second. Oh, I guess if they're only setting up for the expo, then that makes sense because the expo is only the latter half of the week.
Oh, so what's at the beginning of the week?
Tutorials.
So we're not showing the game at the beginning of the week?
No, it's going to be in the hall.
So we are.
Yes.
Okay, so we're not on the floor. We're like outside the floor.
We're in the hall.
We're in the hall.
So if you don't know Moscone Center, it's a lot like Boston Convention Center or like a lot of other convention centers where they're very, very large hallways, followed by a bunch of other rooms and an expo floor.
Oh, okay.
And in the hallways, we're going to be in the West Hall. There's a lot of space. So we'll be set up in kind of a big booth along the Western Hall where they're going to have a bunch of games on there. And I believe we're going to be setting up early. I think when I went to the GDC like a decade ago, they had the student showcase out in the halls. And they were there the entire week.
Right. Okay.
And the first 3 days, I believe it's the first 2 or 3 days, might be just the 2 days. The first 2 days are just tutorials. So people will have like fucking 3-hour-long tutorials.
Right.
And you'll go in there and you'll just sit there for 2 to 3 hours, and they'll talk about, we had this kind of multiplayer status update tool, and this allowed us to do debugging bullshit, or whatever topic you're talking about, either 3D modeling, design, programming. They just have these kind of long form sessions of just like, this is how we did it. These are the things you can use to improve your development. Just whatever the topic is. And the last 3 days, the expo floor opens. And I think it's the last 3 days. I might be pulling just this shit out of my ass. But they have last 3 days are the expo. It's the first two for the tutorials. So the last 3 are kind of like really small panels and roundtables and talks. So a lot more like the stuff you'd find at PAX. Where it's much more kind of personal. Okay. People do Q&As. It's very, very small scale. And they have the expo floor open, which is where they have a bunch of either the games that they're showing off to the press or the tools they're showing off to other developers.
So that's sort of like what I saw was that animation boot camp. I was thinking of checking out. It was like that's probably one of the first 2 days or something like that.
Yeah, that would definitely be a tutorial.
Right.
Yeah. So you expect like the first 2 days to be like a business convention, and the last 3 days to be more like PAX.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. See that. There's also some talks.
The entire time to be drinking. Because holy shit, programmers drink like crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of drinking I hear at PAX.
Yes.
I'm sorry, at GDC. At GDC.
It's that's what I remember mostly from GDC is I was legal, so I could drink then.
Right. When Josie found out I was going to GDC, the first thing she's like, "We gotta get drinks." I was like, "Oh Jesus,
we gotta get drunk."
Oh my god.
It's because everybody fucking expenses that shit.
Well, do they?
Nice.
I don't know. Some it depends. I think it really depends. So it
depends. I don't know. I got taken out for like nice dinners and drinks quite a few times. Like, who paid for it? Xbox paid for our dinner and our drinks.
Oh, wow.
Like we were there with one of the Xbox guys, and they were like, oh no, whatever, we're just gonna pay for all of it. And I'm like, really? And it's like, yep, just put on my card, company card.
So we have a next gen pants card where all of our meals can go to, Bob.
No, you're paying for it.
Are you
You're
sure?
paying for your own shit.
What?
Oh,
Man,
We have no budget.
this company sucks.
at least we'll be honest about it on the Kickstarter, right? We'll have to put like 20% going to alcohol.
When's our Christmas party?
Conventions and alcohol expenses.
Where's our Christmas party going to be, Bob? At Skype.
I don't know. If we make it to Christmas.
Yeah, that's true. You might be done by then.
Hopefully not.
Probably not.
But it has been really kind of a surreal experience going to like Polygon and Destructoid and seeing our game on there.
Yeah, so that's another thing was today Polygon and Destructoid wrote stories about, Indie Mega Booth being at PAX, and of course there's the name of our game and the studio name and stuff with the links, and it was like, wow, like we made it on Polygon. I'm counting that. I am counting that as being on Polygon.
Yeah, it's a bit surreal, like to be especially something where you've been working over it in silence for so long, and then having that weird kind of realization that this is actually going to be turning into something that other people are going to see.
Yeah, they're going to see this
showing up.
It's like the pressure. The pressure's on now. It's like, oh shit! Like people are going to actually see this, and it's really funny. Is like when I was doing the 4-player stuff as media, going to conventions and talking to people. I would talk to developers, and they'd be like, "Yeah, it feels so good to finally be able to talk about this." And I finally, I always kind of get a sense of what they were talking about then, but now I really do, because now it's like, we've known about GDC for a couple of weeks now and haven't been able to say anything. It's like, oh, I just want to tell people and be proud, So
I know. Like when I first heard back about GDC, I was just walking around my house going, "Fuck, like, is this real? Like, is this real life? Like, what?
Do this?
We're gonna be showing at GDC, really?" Because it was kind of like one of those out of the blue things, like, "Hey, we have this opportunity, and do you want to be a part of it?" And I'm like, "Yes." And then all of a sudden, "All right, we're going."
Right?
What? Really? That's what?
I know.
Oh fuck! I've got 3 weeks to finish all the fucking levels now. Oh shit!
I know, and it's like, fuck, I have assets to make and shit. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's assets to make.
It's one of the things where you're really excited about, and then you're like, "Oh god, I have to have everything done in like 4 weeks."
Well, that's why I said, like, the overwhelming. I'm like, I'm not even excited yet. I'm terrified, and I'll be excited when I get there. Probably. I'm also one of these people that like I don't get excited about something until it's just about to happen, because I just like to keep it bent up, But I it's like I'll be excited when we get there, and I'm happy with the progress we made. You know what I mean? And I fully expect us to be like in the hotel the night before, being like, okay, let's do one more little update, one more build update, one more asset to go in. Let me fix this one last texture. You know what I mean? And my housemate actually is going to let me use her good laptop that I can actually do my work on as I'm traveling. So that'll help out.
Well, I'm hoping to have I'm going to lock down the code about a week before.
Nothing else. Not adding because you don't want to break anything, right?
No, I don't want to break anything. That's it. I don't want to. I'm planning on having most of the work done in the next 2 weeks, and then just having the last week just be nothing but bug fixes and testing.
Right. No major skill additions.
No, nothing new. No new. Fortunately, the game's all blocked out, so everything's pretty much done. Mm-hmm. It's just getting the new assets in and fixing things up.
I think we can get one more skill in. I bet we can. Just one more.
No.
We just got to put in the hours, Bob. We can do it. It's crunch time. We have to sleep at our desks. That's what you got to do.
It's a hidden skill. We're going to enable that.
We're bringing in the cots.
No.
It's right. It's super humbling, like, to go from the person who like spends most of your time criticizing games to someone who's like, I hope we don't get like heavily criticized. You know what I mean? It's scary.
Listen. You know we will.
Yeah, we will. That's why Brad hasn't played the game yet.
So I'll let everybody know. Here's the thing. Like, we've had a few people play test it. Nolan has been the only person 4-player to test it, and we're partly terrified to have Brad play test it. But here's the thing, though. We want him to eventually because Brad is really good at what he does, and Brad's really good at playing something and taking it apart and telling you what's good, telling you what's bad. He's got a great head for games and game design and that kind of stuff. But there's something about it, like we're just like, because we know if anyone's going to find the shit in our cake, it's Brad. You know? And I think we're scared of what he's going to find. You know?
I find it that I'm more afraid of his opinion and like his taste in games. You know what I mean?
Well, you got to take that into account. You know what I mean?
He has a very specific taste,
right.
And that specific taste is critical too. We're making his fucking game. You know what I mean? We're making a game that is kind of like
what he would like.
Something that Brad would be like, "Oh my god, did you hear about this? Like, I'm gonna go check it out." So like, it's he's up to plate. He's the critic that we need.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think I like for him to wait as long as he can to play it because I want him to really be critical about it.
No, I do too.
Because it's going to help us a lot.
No, totally. I mean, I think Brad's a great resource. Actually, Nainan Moraz says Brad is the final boss. And in a way, he is. In a way, that's sort of true. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
But no, I love Brad, and I'm looking forward to him playing it. But I'm also very nervous about. I don't think it's ready for him to play it yet because it's not at the point yet where I think, like, we have a lot of critiques. I think. It needs to get to the point to where we're like, okay, this is looking really good. Now we need somebody to come in and sort of like kick over the sandcastle and find out where we need to rebuild it. You know what I mean? And I think Brad's really good for that kind of thing. So, I mean, like even with the alpha we have now, which is just the demo anyway, which is an alpha, it's such a vertical slice that it isn't really the whole game yet. We still have tons of ideas that aren't in there in any way that I think will add so much to the game. I mean, it's a vertical slice, but it's really like a vertical slice at the most fundamental level.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, we wanted to have a demo that wasn't just the first 10 minutes of the game.
Right.
Like, we wanted to have something that's going to showcase a bit more of just the first 10 minutes, because obviously there's things in the first 10 minutes like there's the whole introducing the world, introducing characters, and all this other bullshit, and it's a little slower paced, and you might have a lot more time hooking people into the game. Mm-hmm. Whereas if we have a demo, we can actually show like expect all these things in the game,
right? At a bare minimum, and then expect more. It's kind of
absolutely. And then there's I don't know. I've been expecting the game to be maybe 4 to 6 hours long. But the demo is like 30 minutes long if you're first introduced to it. Right.
Yeah. I would like to shoot for 6 hours, but that's just me.
Yeah. Oh, we can fucking do that.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much it's a puzzle game. So.
We do like a Kojima thing where we have a cutscene every 20 minutes, and the cutscene is like half hour long.
So it's in slow-mo.
It's in slow-mo. Right. The whole world's in slow motion. What's really
but the Tetris blocks actually don't speak to the anybody.
They actually don't yet. We were actually having this discussion last. So basically, everyone needs to
Wednesday,
know. Yeah. So when you have we're actually, I think we've unintentionally now raised to 2 meetings a week because that's just what we just started doing, kind of. So I think that's what we're going to start doing.
We need more meetings.
Yeah, we kind of do that. Those sessions are really good, but. What people need to realize is that when you do design meetings and development meetings, it's like you have your fundamental core stuff you're working on. It's like, okay, what have you done? What do we need to do? What's on our list? What do we need to accomplish? Where are we at? And then you kind of have like it sort of always kind of ends up finishing with a brainstorming session of like, what if we do I wish we could do this sort of thing, And all that stuff sort of gets thrown up to the board, and whether you use it or not is one thing or another. And just last Wednesday, we were having this discussion about, do we want to use voices, You know, do we want to do that kind of thing? And we decided, like, I think one thing we were coming on is like, well, we don't want like voice acting, but maybe if we do like a Sims sort of like, you know, and Jeff was like, yeah, and I think it'd be great if we could have like a really old Tetris piece, and Joseph can just do his like old man thing, and I was like, yeah, but I don't want to say anything. I want all's dialogue just be like ohs and ahs. I was like, you know, and I was like, well, that's like what Zelda does. Like that's kind of exactly what Wind Waker does in a way, you know. But
if that is the point, then we need to have a water temple.
Well, I think basically what we're making the Dark Souls of Tetris games, right?
It's like a mixture. It's just like it's such a weird game. Whereas it's got Metroid elements. It's got you know, like a Tetris elements. It's also, I guess you could say, it also has kind of Zelda elements in the same theme that like Zelda has the different temples and the different abilities. Like, it's a weird fucking game. The more I like look at it,
it is a weird game. We're making a weird ass
game
game
to play.
We're making a weird ass game.
I've looked at so many different games when helping to design this game. You know what I mean?
Let's go through it. I mean, like, the light the piece gives off, Jeff, you said, is basically inspired by Dark Souls, and the light your character gives off in Dark Souls. You know?
Yeah, because the piece in the game glows. It actually emits a glow,
right?
Which is, at this point, it's glowing. I mean, any of this could potentially change at all, given that it's an alpha still. But obviously it's a Metroidvania. I always considered when we started joking about this idea, and Bob kind of kicked around like the control room concept. And I'm going to stay vague because I don't know exactly how much we want to say. Like the control room concept and that whole puzzle aspect of that, like, it instantly made me think of like one of my favorite games of all time, which is Henry Hatsworth, right? Like, I love that Henry Hatsworth. That game is a culmination of both a platformer and a match 3 puzzle game. And that is a little bit of what we have here. Right. We have, a quote-unquote Metroidvania style, platformer adventure with another genre kind of interweaved into it, with all these influences of like Tetris and like that whole world, and it comes from a lot of different places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what we should have? I was just thinking about, like, when you complete games, sometimes it opens up different modes and different stuff. Is that we should record. We should bring in George, right? And he can record commentary that goes out throughout the game. So when you hit areas, he's like, "Oh, look at this fire! I bet I can get through here. Oh, I feel so emotional about this fire." But when you complete,
you just sound like Peter Molyneux.
I don't know.
No. What you do is you don't have a story in the first playthrough of the game, and then in the second playthrough, you've unlocked the story, and then it's George narrating.
No, that's what I was going to say.
In the same style as Thomas Was Alone.
What I was going to say is when you finish the game, you get a new mode, and it's called Indie Mode. And with Indie Mode, it's just George like commentating with his British accent throughout the entire game as you're doing it.
Oh, what's this? We have a block here. And he moves. Oh, this is awkward.
Oh, you need a yellow piece? Oh, will I find that for you, chap?
What kind of dumbass developers would make you move around a square and just trot around as a square, as if that's ethical in any which way? And what's with this square anyway? What is it, a male, a female? It's both aqua and pink. Those are not good colors.
That would be amazing. That would be great.
It should have been a ball, because soccer is great.
Indie mode. And
they call it football.
And it replaces all the music with classical music.
That would be awesome.
That would be funny. We'll make that a stretch goal for the Kickstarter. We get a certain amount of money, then we'll create an indie mode and get it and hire a British person to do commentary over the game. I think that's a beautiful thing.
We can have a bunch of people do it, actually. It could just be like the commentary mode,
Oh,
and you
or
could play
different-
through the game with just like anybody. Like we could have people from the site, special guests that want to like leave commentary for certain sections.
too, yeah.
Like I would be down to definitely do something like that. And then we'd always get the chance to take it a little bit serious on some cool sections and kind of discuss that. You know what I mean, too,
right,
as
right.
well. That would be awesome.
Yeah. We'll have to work all that stuff out. But anyway, it's exciting. It's exciting.
It is.
Yes. Maybe I can finally fucking sleep tonight.
Nope.
There's still so
We have
much.
too much
it's
work
so
to do.
busy.
I actually,
Man,
I have to go to work at my day job tomorrow at 9 a.m. until
Oh,
about
Jesus, really?
until about 10:30. Not too long, but then I'm gonna come home and start working
Oh.
on the game right away.
Oh, good.
So
Oh, not. I mean, good that you're working on the game.
yeah.
I have no sympathy for your lack of free time.
That's fine. That's just totally fine. And then, although, so I told Bob this, I didn't tell Jeff and Chris this, but I also, because I'm an idiot, apparently, my old band, The Them, they asked me to do an acoustic set at some club on March 7th. So on top of everything else, I have to rehearse now with those motherfuckers, like once a week or twice a week. We just rehearsed on on Thursday. And then we're rehearsing again for a couple hours on Sunday. But it's just like, it's not that bad. But it's like one more thing on my brain that I have to
But
do. You know,
that's good for your soul, though. I think.
I guess so, man.
Like,
I
it's a little different.
haven't sung in about a couple of years, or about a year and a half, and little
Yeah.
here and there. But
It'll be good for you, though.
You know,
It'll help like ease you and get to have you like release a little.
yeah,
I think.
it was tough.
You know
Man.
what
It was
I mean?
like I was like singing. I've always been a really good singer, and singing was always like something that came very easy to me. And last Thursday, it was not coming as easy as I remember. So I need to practice. It's a muscle like anything else. If you don't use it as much, it starts to go a little stiff. So I'll be fine by the time the show is.
I say, in exchange for your services as a singer, I think you should require them to write a song for Tetropolis.
We are barely playing our old songs, let alone writing any new ones at this point. It's been a while since we got together and played these old songs. Luckily, I have a recording of all the songs we're playing, so I can just rehearse at home if I want to.
I have totally been aiming to get vocals in some of the finished game music, so that could potentially be something that would possibly be happening if Joseph would want to do some
We'll see.
vocals. We'll see.
Oh, and Ajima Jabba 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 Jabba, who is a subscriber over at 4pp.tv and chat, he actually released an album, and I listened to it today, and it's actually pretty good. So you guys should check it out. He just put the link in the chat. So
Is he rapping?
check out his stuff. He's a rapper.
No, it's
he's sort of like if you mixed
Representing
Eminem.
the streets?
Yeah, if you mix like Eminem with Justin Bieber, but with more of a like a Tawny Katane look, he's sort of like that.
Cool.
No one knows who Tawny
I'll listen to
Katane
it.
is. I even thought
I'm
of
down with the beat.
that. No, he does. He does like alt rock, indie alt stuff,
Yeah.
alt rock stuff.
It's I'll listen to it as well. It's pretty good.
You know who I'm into now. I need to make this announcement. Then we'll have a break. But I need to make this announcement. You know what? I found myself liking and being into Miley Cyrus. It's
Oh,
happened.
her CD's great.
No, her CD is fucking awesome. It's really well done, and her shows are fucking insane. You know what
Yeah.
you know what she's like live? I said this before. Miley Cyrus live, it's like if Guar and Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job, had a kid and put them together.
What?
Do you know at the beginning of the show, her giant face shows up on a giant screen, right? And then the mouth opens super wide, like obnoxiously wide, and then a giant tongue comes out of the mouth and lowers to the stage. But the tongue is a giant pink slide, and then she shows up in the mouth and then slides down the tongue onto stage. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah. She's like showing her fucking vagina on
Yeah,
stage.
I'm
and
okay with
fucking
that.
herself with the microphone. Like she's out of control.
No, but, like,
crazy.
but what-
She paid great money for those songs. By
Yeah.
the way.
No, I know.
But it is a pretty like well well.
It's a good show. And you know, like, I don't know if you guys ever seen Gwar live or not, right? But Gwar, one of the things they do that makes them so amazing, it's not just like blood and guts and cum and stuff. Like, they actually lampoon art and politics and all this stuff. And that's their whole stage show is about that kind of thing. And Miley Cyrus kind of does the same thing. She has a whole thing with, like, Bill Clinton, and, like, she's making fun of art and making fun of hip-hop. And that's kind of her whole, like, shtick. And that's why I think it's sort of like Gwar mixed with Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job, you know? And it's just, it's pretty fucking neat. And the whole idea, I have a good friend who's really into Miley, and she's kind of, like, been introducing me to it and, like, what it's all about. And the whole idea is... It's basically absurdist humor, you know, which is what Tim and Eric is and what Mr. Show kind of was, but not as much. More Tim and Eric have really made an art form out of it. But it's absurdist humor. It's like, we're going to be really ridiculous. And so ridiculous that it's hilarious. And that's kind of what she's all about. And I think people aren't getting it, and they just think, oh, she's just being dumb and whatever. But it's like, it's this weird sort of, you know, whether she's doing it or the people managing her know what they're doing, whatever, but it's this weird sort of absurdist art form that is kind of cool, you know, and it's like like I said, the idea is to be as ridiculous as possible, and that's what it's all about. Like, if you go, like, my friend to sort of tell me, like, I was like, I don't know, I don't get it. Like, I'm like, I kind of get it because I love Tim and Eric. I think they're fucking geniuses. She's like, okay, then you'll like this. Let me show you something. So she took me to Forever 21, okay? Mm-hmm. And Forever 21 is sort of following the whole, like, Miley Cyrus type of thing. And if you look at their clothing is ridiculous. It's like, it's so ridiculous, but on purpose. It's like, there was a sweater that had pizza slices all over it. Like, printed pizza slices. And it was very popular. They have, like T-shirts that have, like, a punk person on them, like, with a big mohawk. And on them, they say punk. That's hilarious, like, when you think about it, you know? And the whole, like I said, the whole idea is to be just ridiculous. So, Biohunter doesn't like Tim and Eric. Well, here's the thing, Biohunter, that Biohunter is a subscriber over at 4pp.tv watching us live right now. That's the whole thing. Like, with Tim and Eric, people either don't like them or they think they're fucking geniuses. And I'm definitely in the fucking genius camp of Tim and Eric Awesome Show. So,
was it Tom Goes the Mayor?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Tom Goes the Mayor.
Yeah, that was Tim and Eric's first show on Adult Swim, right?
And I did like Tom Goes the Mayor. I don't like Awesome Show, Great Job.
Well, you know what's funny is that Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job, what the person who really helped to push them into big popularity was Bob Odenkirk, who was a producer for them at the beginning. And everyone should know Bob Odenkirk as being the lawyer from Breaking Bad. And now he's getting his own spinoff. And Bob Odenkirk used to be one of the main creators of Mr. Show with David Cross back in the 90s. So I've been, like, a big Bob Odenkirk fan for a long time. But anyway, Miley Cyrus. I like Miley Cyrus. And you guys have to chew on that, I guess, during the break. So,
and we can't stop.
It's a fucking great song. I love the Ron Jeremy version of Wrecking Ball. It's beautiful. All right, guys, we'll be right back in about 10 minutes. You guys are watching Cocktail Time live here at 4PlayerNetwork.com. Everybody, we are back. We are back. You are watching Cocktail Time live here at 4Planet Network. I want to personally thank everyone who is watching us live over at 4pp.tv. I do love that you all spend your evening with us. Especially thanks to our subscribers. People like Whistlebottom, people like Victus Unis, people like Zyle666. If you like what we do here at 4Planet Network, we do ask that you think about subscribing. You can do so through Twitch TV. It costs $4.99 a month. And for that, you get no ads on either our broadcast or our website. You get exclusive content like our top fives and our dinner times. And you get the chance to become a subscriber of the month. You get to choose what we play on our broadcasts and be part of the Subscriber of the Month podcast. It's all good. But I want to thank everybody who comes out and watches us. Everybody, even if you're not a subscriber, even just watching us live, it brings a warmth to my heart that is not otherwise there. So I thank you for that. All right, let's talk about some games besides Tetropolis, because there are a few other games out there that are worth mention. I would think. Perhaps
3 or 4, maybe.
Maybe 3 or 4. So, I haven't played much this week. I've been busy making the game. The most thing I played this week... Oh, you know what I can talk about, too? First of all, I'll say mostly what I played was the Second Assault from Battlefield 4. Finally, I'm getting my hands on it. It's pretty good. It's, what I thought it would be. I tell you what, I still love Metro. No matter what people say, I fucking love Metro. If you want to rack up...
The way they've kind of opened up the map in a few spots and giving you just a few alternatives to how you approach points really changes it up.
If you wanna get some quick points and get some quick kills, Metro's where it's at. And also on the PS4, they're finally bringing rented servers. Thank Christ, because when people bring rented servers, more people use their mics. There's certain weapons that are outlawed, and you can find your 24-hour Metro. You can find your 24-hour Operation Locker with 800, 1,500 tickets, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for that. So I can get out of the hell of trying to choose a map and getting in when the next map is loading, and it happening like 4 and 5 times in a row. It's just fucking horrible. But other than that, you know what I saw this week? I watched a whole bunch of Thief being played on Twitch and Ustream.
That's true.
Yeah.
You and Jeff both saw
it. A whole bunch of people playing Thief. And let me tell you something right now. I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried. So my biggest complaint. So I have 2 big complaints. God damn it, I'm gonna do it, and I hate to fucking do it. I wanna just stick a lobster up my ass, because I hate that I have to do this. But I have to put it up next to Dishonored. I have to. Because that's
fair to say. I mean, that's the best. That's the most modern.
That's the most modern Thief style game we have, and you know what? I'm not sure if it really stands up to it. So here's my thing. My 2 big concerns are with the levels and the AI. Number 1, the levels are pretty small, and there's lots of loading between them. So you're in a small district, and there might be different pathways and stuff, but not a lot. And if you want to go to the next district, it's like loading screen. Whereas in Dishonored, huge areas, you can go into different buildings, explore lots of stuff. Like it's expansive.
Like the original Thief series.
Right, and these do not seem expansive. They seem very segmented. My second thing is the AI. The AI is so fucking terrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. The animations aren't very good, and the AI is so bad. So multiple times, they have these closets you can hide in, right? Multiple times.
Oh, don't tell me they're like the fucking hay piles from
some guy is getting chased by somebody. You go into the closet, and you can see the guy still like looking at you go in the closet, and they stop at the closet and are like, "Where is he? Where did he go?" And they don't know. And at one point, there were 3 or 4 guards just spinning around, looking around in front of the closet, trying to find him. And then they stayed there until their little meter went down, and then they went on their way. Never once opening the closet to see if you were in there, even though they clearly saw you go in.
They should not have closets. That's not a fucking thief game. If you get spotted, you get fucked.
Well, there's other way, yeah, I know. But it's like, they should at least open the fucking closet. You know? Like, I can see them having closets so you can hide in them while a guard walks past or something like that. I can see that. Make it a hiding place. I'm okay with that. Dishonored
Don't
did
be
stuff
like an
that.
aggro reset. That's fucking stupid.
There is an aggro reset.
It's
am I wrong, Jeff? You watched a bunch of it too.
Okay,
like, where am I wrong?
So here's the thing. Like, Thief to me, there's a difference between Thief and Dishonored. Like, when I played Dishonored, it was very frenetic. Like, I was moving around a lot and zipping around and like being a superhero stealth guy. And Thief, the original Thief, like, I play those games like a thief, like slow, very fucking slow and methodical, and like really like always in the shadow and like just watching your every step.
It's
and
more,
so that,
more MGS than it is Dishonored.
Yes.
Good.
That's a good way to put it.
So the pacing is different, right? So I see where you could automatically say like, man, like even the option to have a better pacing, because you could play slow and Dishonored too, but because of the abilities, you didn't feel, or at least not even me, like I didn't feel like I should. I felt like I should use the abilities and like play very quickly, and be a badass as much as I can. And so, so the new Thief seems like it retains that old pace, which is kind of in the same thing. Like, man, it kind of looks, it's dull, it's almost boring instantly because it's just, just super slow and there's not a lot going on. You're mainly staying out of the shadows, you're not killing guards in interesting ways. You're trying to avoid the guards. The AI is awful from what I did see as well, Joseph. Although I did see on one of the guys' playthroughs, the guard did open the it was like a locker or something.
Right.
And he was like, oh, and you could barge through, I guess. You can, like, barge through the locker, so as soon as they step in front of it, you, like, knock them down. But, like, yeah, I mean, it was old Thief. I mean, it looks like Thief. It from what I've seen, it seems like Thief, but I don't know if that can hold up today without a little, change, a little change, a little more change at least.
I think that's a good, I think that's... I think that's true in a way. I think Dishonored found that balance between what old Thief was and the action people want for modern games. Because I mean, I know it's a horrible sample, sample data. But I mean, while I was watching this, chat on Twitch and Ustream were not liking what they were seeing. I mean, I know it's like chat is like it's like you might as well look at the comments section on YouTube. But I mean, it was not like. People weren't looking at it and going, wow, this looks really awesome. People were like, wow, this looks really boring. And people like us might enjoy it, but I don't think it's going to sell well because it has that sort of thing to it.
So it's a niche title.
Yeah, it's a very niche
check
title.
it out. So the two... I jumped between two. I don't know if maybe you were watching one of them, Joseph, but did the people you see play the game like how I think like we would play it?
Yeah,
the
one guy I saw
were they didn't know what the fuck they were playing.
Yeah,
like they were trying to run around and like shoot people with arrows and like it was unwatchable almost.
Yeah, the one guy I was watching, he was trying to be stealthy and stuff, and that was the guy where he was dying a lot, and that was the guy where he would be like he would run into the closet and the guards would follow him almost to the closet and then be like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" And like spin around in a circle looking for him, and then he would come out of the closet and then go back in the closet and they'd be like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" And he did it like 3 or 4 times, like back into the same spot. And I understand like, other games are like that too, but it seemed like, even in, Outlast, if the enemy sees you going into the closet, they open up the fucking closet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the sight thing.
They search the rooms.
Yeah, so
everything in the room to make sure that there's nothing tied.
There wasn't a lot of searching going on. So I mean, I'm going by watching a little bit here and there, but I'm still going to buy it just because it's a Thief game and I need to play it, whether it's shitty or not. I need to experience it. But I'm kind of worried about it. I'm especially worried about the small levels and there not being a lot of
Yeah,
seeming like there's not being a ton of exploration. You know,
there's a lot of load times. The exploration is a lot of like, pick this lock, go into this hut, steal everything in this hut. That's Thief. Right. For sure. That's what you do in Thief.
But I think about like, but then I think about like Dishonored, where it's like you have your objective, but you have like this whole area of the city, and all of a sudden you're like, you overhear something, and now you're in this other house you don't even need to be in, but you're doing this side mission thing that has to do with the story, but you found yourself doing something completely different, and before you know it, like Bob, you're spending 6 to 8 hours on the first mission because there's just so much stuff to find and do in that area.
Yeah, that's true. I did spend like 6 to 8 hours in the fucking first
Yes, you did. I remember that.
I completely forgot about that.
So I mean, you're completely right. I watched a lot of it. I watched as much as I could watch.
You probably watched more than I did.
I watched like 2 hours of 2 hours of the game, and like it was just. I was just like, why does this exist? Like, all they really did was like, they're just reproducing, unless it does something halfway through the game, that changes it up or adds a whole new mechanic or something, sure. And I don't know if you noticed, Joseph, but did you notice that when you're in the dark, the glow on the controller, the PS4 controller is blue, but when you're in the light, it turns white?
How did you notice that?
Because the kid had a camera on.
Oh, so the guy I was watching didn't have his camera on.
And he didn't even notice it. Like, he didn't even notice, but we could see it because the camera was facing the controller. You know what I mean?
You can't see that when you're playing. I guess if you're playing in the dark. If you're playing in the dark.
Room, you might be able
if you're in a dark room, especially in the dark, like, I would be able to see it. Like,
it's just a flare, like a bit of flare,
Yeah, I like that. But, Dishonored, guys, like, fuck, the universe is awesome, right? Like, it's everything about that game kind of is fresh and new.
The art style, that watercolor art style is so cool.
The painterly art style, right? And then like you see this, and you're like, well, it's Thief. Like, it's just prettier. And
I know what you're saying. It seems
like
it
just looks like Thief.
It seems like Dishonored was the next step from Thief, to something better. And now you're like, why are we going backwards? I know. I kind of know what you're saying. There's a lot of like nostalgia, I think, going on here as well. The Thief, Dishonored did stuff that Thief didn't do. Like in Dishonored, like combat was an option, whereas in Thief, combat is not supposed to be an option. It's supposed to be pure stealth. Whereas if you find a guard, you can possibly get through, but it's really difficult. The idea is to not kill anybody, whereas in Dishonored, that's a viable option. So I understand why they made it. I feel like, I don't know. I'm mostly worried of the AI, because I feel like we're coming to a point now to where we expect more out of that sort of stuff. We're in next gen sort of area where, if they can't find you and they need to find you, they should look in an appropriate way.
That shit's been solved for about a decade plus now.
Yeah.
And
the thing is,
finding algorithms are pretty damn solid now, and having heuristics for finding someone that's in a stealth game is, I'm pretty sure there's about 50 different research papers written on this bullshit.
Oh yeah, and the thing is too, and Deus Ex is Human Revolution's a great game. Yeah. It's a great game. And it seems like the AI between those two games has taken a hit. I mean, I'm going by what I'm seeing on someone's fucking Twitch stream. So take this with a grain of salt. My main fact is that I've seen a bunch of play, and I'm worried about the game in a way I wasn't before.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this so much until I was kind of wary. I was like, I don't know, because it's they're rebooting, and whenever they reboot, I tend to be hesitant about it. But I've been thinking, going back and forth recently about pre-purchasing the game. I was like, oh yeah, it's going to come out fucking 3 days after my birthday. I'm going to go buy it for myself. I'm going to have a fucking birthday present and be like, bitch, I'm going to play Thief, because I loved Thief 1. I loved Thief 3. Didn't play much of Thief 2, but Thief 1 and 3 are fucking awesome experiences.
2 is supposed to be not very good.
It's probably a good thing I didn't ever play more than an hour of 2.
Well, see,
it's just
Bob. What you need to do, Bob, is go do a Google search for the Dark mod and play that.
I have it. I installed it, but I haven't played it yet.
Real should take a look at it. I think you
is
might
that?
like it. The Dark mod is a id Tech 4 complete recreation of the original Thief.
So it's 1-to-1?
Pretty much. The only catch is that it's individual maps and missions that you have to load one by one. It's not one linear experience.
Do they have the cutscenes though? Because that was one of the best part about Thief.
There's no cutscenes. There's no cinematics. It's just the pure gameplay.
Cinematics were awesome. Like that was one of the best things about Thief 1 is that they had a really, really cool kind of I don't know how to say it. It's not it's very kind of animated type style look where you saw in the earlier kind of Flash days where you had kind of static images but they would be moving. It was like almost like a moving comic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And that was the theme for like their cinematics for Thief 1 and 2. And it was badass. It was great. It was really cool looking. And the story in Thief 1 was told mostly through the cinematics and the little blurbs between missions. You'd get these kind of quotes from these keepers, and these are the sort of like the keepers of knowledge, and they would kind of explain this sort of ongoing overarching story from the beginning. Like they would kind of be painting this picture of this bigger story, whereas you're focusing on these tiny little heist missions as a thief, and eventually you find yourself in something that's way bigger than yourself, and you steal something that you like no mortal person should have ever laid hands on. And that's where the story just goes like crazy. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And I remember that kind of reveal in Thief 1 and just being like, this is the best fucking thing ever. Like it was awesome. Like the story reveal was great. The cinematics were awesome. The levels were brilliant, really smart, well done. The mechanics were really tight. Combat was clunky as fucking awful because you were never supposed to get into it.
Of course.
And like when you learn the levels and you learn the patterns and stuff, you felt like a badass for eventually like learning the patterns and knowing like, oh, I can fucking like go buy this zombie because zombies you couldn't kill.
So I think the most important thing you're saying is like for its time. Right, for its time, it was doing some of the most incredible things I've ever saw.
Oh,
even now, when you go back and play Thief, like you're like, wow, like for this stealth mechanic, like this thing is like tight. You know what I mean? Like it's really tight. Like even the shadows and the lighting, like is super tight. And in comparison to what like that mind state that they had is not in this game.
Oh, that sucks because
you know
that's what
they're not trying to innovate, or at least from what we saw. Let's be fair.
It's one step forward, two steps back, where they're trying to make it a new Thief game, but then they're trying to appeal to a wider audience and make it fucking Assassin's Creed,
Tomb Raider,
or Tomb Raider. Yeah,
Tomb Raider, you know.
Yeah, it's you want to like. If they had just released a higher definition version, a little bit better gameplay mechanics of Thief 1, it would have been fucking awesome. I don't care. Like I would have played that game. I would have bought it. Like if it was just the same story, the same game as Thief 1, just a higher graphics version, and they kind of improved the mechanics a little to be more kind of modern, streamlined. Like that would have been fine with me. I would have been fucking ecstatic for that. But no. They have to do their own thing. They have to go modernize it and bastardize it and then fuck it up somehow.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
I'm really surprised that Square Enix hasn't really taken advantage of this. They own the Thief license now. Why haven't they gone ahead and released Thief 1 through 3 like in special enhanced editions on every platform they can possibly get it to?
In Thief, in the new Thief, you start with a mechanical eye, right?
I would not know. I don't think so.
Mechanical eye.
Do you have a zoom? Like, can you
no,
zoom in?
but you have the ability to use your Master Thief sense, I think it's something like that, to detect items in the environment you can interact with.
Yeah, you could also like see through walls and see the enemies. I saw some of that.
That's part of the Thief story. I guess this is spoilers. Sorry, it's been fucking 20 years.
It's fine. That's fine.
In Thief 1, you lose your eye.
God damn it.
Aye.
You,
I forgot all about that. You're ruining it for me.
your eye gets stolen from you. And in Thief 2, the makers, I believe it's the makers, create a mechanical eye for you. And that allows you to do like a zoom in type thing. It's the fucking, seriously, if you have not played Thief, play the fucking first game. It's really good. It's really good. Like story wise and mechanically, it's fucking awesome. Like they did stuff with narrative and like the gameplay that it still sticks with me today. Like I remember just loving this game to fucking death because of
this
what
is not the final. This is not your Final Fantasy, is it? Final Fantasy VII, Bob.
I hated Final
Thief. I know, but I'm saying Thief is your Final Fantasy VII.
Possibly, I don't know. Like I played it recently and I still enjoyed it. So it's not a lot of nostalgia factor. You know. Like,
No, I agree because I just loaded it up like knowing that the new one was coming. I started fiddling with the old one as well. So I hear you. It's tough on the eyes.
Like I have Thief Gold. I bought it like immediately on GOG when it came out. I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna buy this and start playing it again. But it because it was optimized, like written for fucking direct draw in Windows 95. It doesn't emulate that well. So a lot of times you don't get the fucking cinematics. And like that's such a big part of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't want to play a Thief 1 game without the cinematics. Like that sucks. That's like half the game.
We'll just play the game and then look them up on YouTube.
I guess you can do that now. I don't know. I'll probably go through Thief 1 again just because I love that game so much. Like the environments they have you go through, there's some fucking creepy places in that game. You go through like really creepy old abandoned monasteries. You go through and in Thief 3 they kind of try to step it up a notch with the asylum, and you go through an abandoned asylum. That's a creepy ass level for Thief 3. Like Thief 3 is still a decent Thief game.
What, Deadly Shadows? Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all three of them.
Made by the late Ion Storm.
So there's a mod. Chris, you said there's a mod for the first one and not for the second one?
Yeah, it's a complete standalone game, if you will. It's called the Dark Mod.
Yeah, I got it on my desktop. I need to just fucking finish. I think when I originally grabbed it, when you first told me about it, I was trying to download it. That was when everybody else was trying to download it.
Yeah, because what happened was, at the time, the reason I decided to play it was because they released their 2.0 version of the game, and they overhauled a bunch of the mechanics and the level design, so...
Yeah, I'll try playing through it again. Then maybe I'll try to play through Thief 2, because that was one I kind of missed. But, oh man, Thief 3 is pretty good. It has some really strong points in it. It's one of those games where, at the time, I remember playing, like, for some reason, really strongly linking it in my mind with, like, Morrowind, in the kind of explorability and the types of depth they have in the environments. And Morrowind is obviously... was one of the first... Actually, no, I got really into Daggerfall, but like one of the really strong 3... was it the first like real 3D Elder Scrolls game?
Daggerfall?
Yeah, Daggerfall.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Like, Daggerfall is fucking like sprite-based bullshit.
Oh, I mean, 3D. Morrowind was the first 3D one.
Yeah. Whereas it has those environments you go in. It feels... obviously, it's all mission-based, but the missions are just so, like, expansive and branching that it makes it almost feel open world. And that's sort of like where in my mind where I put like Thief 1 and Thief 3 kind of in that same kind of level of like there's just so much out there and like allowing you to branch through and see like what's in the world and different storylines that are going on through the world. Like there's so much narrative that's woven into just the main story, like kind of parallel to it, to explore and find in the games where you're like, this is like an Elder Scrolls game. This is really weird. But it's still like a kind of a linear story in the Thief game. This is, That's really cool. And that fucking sucks that the new one is not like that.
Yeah. Not from what I saw.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Maybe I'll pick it up. It's $45 on Steam right now.
The new one?
Yeah. 50% with 10% off, or $50 with 10% off right now for pre-purchase.
No, really? Okay. Well, yeah.
$45.
Totally
Not a
worth
bad
it.
deal.
I would go for it.
No. And I think you get an additional mission with the pre-purchase, which is why I've been kind of going back and forth about buying it.
Yeah. I would say, like I said, I'm going to buy it. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm just a little worried.
I may pick it up just to indulge myself, because I said I was like, oh, maybe I'll pick up a Thief, because
Right.
it's just fucking present to myself.
Right. All right. What have Chris Davis? What have you been playing?
I've been, well, I guess for the past week it's been primarily two things. This week, starting this past Monday, I started my Onimusha series run
Okay.
with Genma Onimusha.
Been watching that.
Yeah, and I've actually been craving all day to play that game, because it's just as good as I remember, but it is the Genma version, which was exclusive to the Xbox. It's a bitch harder, and I mean it can be, certain sections are a pain in the ass. They added new just new everything across the board. New armor, new enemies, things like that. A whole new soul-sucking mechanic. But they also added this mini-boss. And it's this little Japanese toy doll, decked out with
So already that would terrify Brad.
yeah, it's and you find it and you pick up this key item and it jumps up at you and it spawns like a dozen daggers from its arms, and it's basically this game's nemesis from Resident Evil 3, because it's extremely difficult to kill. I have yet to be able to kill it. It will stalk you throughout areas, and it will pop up in the worst place possible to fuck with you. So when I originally found it, I ran the fuck away, and I found it it kept stalking me for like 3 different areas as I went through the mansion. And then there was a part on Wednesday I'd gotten access to before. I found a puzzle box, and puzzle boxes, they're just simple number rotation things to get numbers in corners and opens the box.
Right.
These usually have a pretty good power-up or something like that. And I got the power-up, and immediately the doll spawned inside the box and fucking destroyed me. Scared
Like
the crap out
the
of me.
worst period. The only Onimusha game I've ever played is the one on the PlayStation 2 with the guy from The Professional in it.
Oh, that would be Onimusha 3 Demon Siege.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever played.
Yeah, Jean Renault.
Yeah.
He's only in the third one. And I love the first 3 games. They're all great in their own right. They're slightly different. Onimusha 1 is more modeled after classic Resident Evil. Onimusha 2 is kind of a hybrid between that and, well, it just adds some new gameplay mechanics, like safe areas you can traverse to, and currency and things like that. And then Onimusha 3, it's got this time travel mechanic, and you switch off between protagonists. And I love each of those games. They are great.
It was fun. I didn't finish it, but I played a bunch of it. I was enjoying myself. So.
Yeah, well, I definitely recommend you at least
What
play through
is-
Onimusha 1.
What is... So my question is, what is the main draw to play an Onimusha game? What has it done that I need to experience?
Nothing.
Well, no. It's not that remarkable a game. It's just a really well made game.
Okay, so
If there is one thing I can attribute to it, I think it's the last great series to take advantage of tank controls and still imagery for backgrounds.
Okay. Okay. I know that Jeff has problems with those controls. Jeff has been bitching about those
Jeff
controls.
was a little upset.
So I never played Onimusha 2, and like before I even knew Chris was gonna play the series, like I took the time and like spent 2 hours on the stream and played Onimusha 2, and man, like that tank control shit, like it bothers. Like the game is like it's to be taken serious, you know, like it's got like a great way of telling a story, and like it's cool, and there's so much I love about it. But then like after the cool cutscene's done, like my blind samurai is scouring the hallways, rubbing up against everything because I can't walk down a hallway without like, you know, looking stupid with them damn tank controls. So it just bothered me.
You have to understand, Joseph. The first 2 games in the series did not have analog control.
Oh no, and it's like the old PlayStation 1 games where you had to use the D-pad to move around.
Yeah, but it's slightly refined version of that D-pad because you actually have a little bit more control as to where your character moves,
right? Okay.
And how they interact in combat. But the third one was the first game in which you actually move your character around as you see fit. It was, I would almost attribute, if it weren't for Devil May Cry, Onimusha 3 to being one of the first great character action games.
Okay. So that's what I was looking for. Like, why should I play this? A lot of these old games, sometimes they're just for fun, and sometimes they do something you need to experience. So I was wondering what is it about these games I need to experience? You know.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing. Like I said, if you want to start the series from the beginning, there are 2 different versions of the first game. There's Onimusha Warlords, which was the vanilla original release, and that's available on PS2. But the Xbox version, which was released a year later, is called Genma Onimusha. That's the one I'm playing, and again, it has all these newly added things. It's kind of like what the Lost Chapters was to Fable.
Okay.
Kind of expanding content.
There's a series I appreciate
significantly
because I love the Fable series so much. Not a big fan of.
Well, I'm just making that analogy.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
What's wrong with my mic? I'm okay. I'm all right.
My only problem with this playthrough, and this series is going to be lasting until I actually beat the final game, which I'm thinking will happen maybe early April-ish. I don't know.
Right.
But I am really worried about playing the last game, Dawn of Dreams. I hated that game.
Why did you hate that game?
It abandoned many of the tropes from the previous games, like the tank controls. It abandoned it for this weird movement system that just did not make sense at the time. It had this 3D camera that was positioned terribly behind the character and didn't give you a real sense for the area around you.
Right.
It had some really fucking annoying characters. And the level design was just not what it should have been.
Okay.
It was weak across the board.
Yeah. That would be bad.
So, I'm not looking forward to playing that again.
Do you have to?
No, I made a commitment, so I'm going to do it.
All right. You're man of your word is what you are.
I'm a man of my word.
What else? Anything else?
Well, the other thing is the other big release that happened this past weekend, which was the Titanfall beta.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So I played a bunch of it. Jesus Christ, every fucking gamer played a bunch of it. Here's my thing. I loved it. I really loved it. I thought it was really fun. I want more of it because after playing the same 2 or 3 play types and the same 2 maps over and over again, I was like, wow, let me save that thought for a second. I loved it. I love the mechanics. I love the running and the parkour stuff. The shooting I thought felt pretty good. I thought there was some weird mouse acceleration stuff that had to do with. So there's no difference.
Total Biscuit will confirm that there was a negative mouse acceleration going.
And also that the game is locked to 60 frames per second no matter what, even on PC.
On PC, I can confirm that the texture quality was locked to medium.
Right. So,
so it looked a little kind of.
I know that. Yeah. So that's okay. the graphics were weird. Like it's since I'm doing art now for not to get back into next gen pants stuff. So, but now that I'm doing art stuff for a video game, I'm very particular and I notice stuff and I see things that I'm like, my God, I would feel terrible delivering this. You know what I mean? And there was a part in Titanfall where I'm like, wow, these textures are so low res. Like I would feel embarrassed to give Bob this, you know? And like there was a point where there were 2 garages and each garage had the same texture on both of them, but they had graffiti on them. So the graffiti on the left garage was exactly the same as the graffiti on the right garage. And I was like, oh my God, like that's so bad. Like, oh my God. You know, but it's not final, but it's like stuff like that I noticed. But to this, you know, whatever. It's a beta, whatever the fuck. But, you know, the thing is, though, a game like this, you need to sacrifice graphics for frame rate. That's important. A game that's like a Twitch... This is basically a Twitch shooter. It's like an old Quake game, basically. Yeah. You know? And you need that... You need the minimum of 60 frames per second. So I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the mouse sensitivity being tied to frame rate. I'm worried about there not being a differential between ADS mouse sensitivity and there being and hipfire mouse sensitivity, because what would happen is they're both the same. So I have my mouse sensitivity set for hipfire. I'm like, okay, so I can do that. Then when I go to ADS, it's way too high, and I'm like going everywhere and I can't hit anything. I'm like a blind Mexican trying to shoot people. You know?
There's a solution to that, Joseph.
What is find the middle way?
Play with a controller.
That'd be on a PC.
I would love to play it. Yeah, I know, like PC Elite and stuff. Like I wanted to play it on my PC, but like it's so nice to just not. Like, just lay back. You know what I mean? It's so uncomfortable. But fucking mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. But there's so many things. Like, so one of the great things about Titanfall is that it's a first-person shooter, and I know I've harped on this before, but it's a first-person shooter about systems and stuff you can do and tying together all that stuff, you know? And things that just sort of happen. It almost has like a Battlefield feel to it sometimes, where you're just sort of, you're running around and you get on a Titan and you're shooting, you pull the panel off and you're shooting them, and the Titan blew up. It's like, yeah, and you jump off and you're on a fucking... roof, and you run the roof, and you wall run, and you jump again. All of a sudden, as you're jumping, you see another Titan, and you fall on that one. And you do the same thing, and there's all this weird stuff that can kind of happen. It's really exciting. It's really, really cool. My thing was, though, like, as much as like stuff like that was really cool, after, you know, how many days the beta went on, and playing the same 3 map modes and the same 2 maps, I started to question, you know, how much is actually here? How much is actually here to keep, you know, my interest and keep people's interest? But here's the thing that's come out recently that I think is going to save that. Number 1, there's a ton of gameplay modes, and that's amazing. There's 8
gameplay modes.
There's 8 gameplay modes. Number 2, on launch, there are 15 maps. I cannot remember any modern, contemporary, first-person shooter, a multiplayer game release that had that many maps at release. That's amazing to me. And that's really cool. Third of all, this game is a game that really, like, it wants to be mastered. So it's all about mastering those maps and mastering those modes and, you know, getting really good at them, learning the finite pathways. It's really kind of something that's tough, but, you know, it's about getting into the nitty-gritty of getting really good at it. And I can get that. And one more point really quick before I turn this over to you guys is that I think my favorite mode is probably the Titan on Titan mode, because Last Titan Standing. Because number 1, like if you only have 1 life, people are a little more scared and people are a little more careful about what they do, and I like that about a game. It makes it more tactical. Number 2, it becomes the Robot Jocks game I've always wanted. If you guys remember Robot Jocks from the 80s, great fucking movie, and it has that feeling to it. So I loved it. I mean, you know, people complain about the idiocy of the AI. They're supposed to be dumb. They're like, you're supposed to be a pilot. You're supposed to be a really great warrior. These minions, these grunts, they're supposed to be cannon fodder. The only reason they're there is to up your score and to lower the tick on your Titan to bring it to you faster. That's it. They're supposed to be stupid. If the AI was any better on the grunts, it would be too much. It'd be way
Yeah.
too much. So
So the grunts do a great job of making people who struggle at these games have a sense of fucking accomplishment.
They
You know
feel
what I
like- they
mean?
feel like they're good
It
at it.
helps everybody, because if you're a dope at this game, you're gonna fucking eat grunts all day, which I was. You know what I mean? So it was bringing my Titans as fast as I could get them. You know, and that kind of stuff. It's a great design decision. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you want to pigeonhole your game to only be able to be consumed by one type of person? Everybody, every type of game mode. You know what I mean? You want this game to be allowed. From what I'm seeing, this game has potential to be everything, right? It's going to have modes where competitively, this game could have multiple leagues for different modes. You know what I mean?
Like just a Titan.
the mode
We're a
talking-
Titan league. We only do last Titan standing. You know.
Yeah. And that mode is awesome, exactly like you said. When I got into a couple of Last Titan Standing games that were really incredible, like the last two people on the battlefield, it was a 4-minute match between their Titans as they battled, throwing bullets at each other and bouncing back and forth, playing tennis with shield projectiles.
Yeah,
projectiles.
and the
You know
cool
what I
thing is
mean?
about that mode is if you make it out of your Titan before it blows up, you're still on the map. You can still do shit. You can still lock on. You can still do stuff, which I think is a brilliant design decision.
And there are few things more entertaining in that game than having your Titan detonate, you eject, you land on the enemy Titan you were fighting, and you destroy it by rotoing.
You know what the best thing is? Because I use nuclear explosion all the time, and what you do is you run. You're getting low on health. You run at another Titan and you start punching them. And
Yeah, you suicide bomb.
No. You start punching them, and you start a boxing match, and the other guy will always start boxing you back, no matter what. And it's okay, dude. Defeat me. You're right next to me punching me, and then you eject because you have both nuclear mode and you have automatic eject. You're fine. You blow the fuck up, and he's dead. And you're running around the map.
Did you not punch a mech that was halfway damaged?
And you pull the
just
guy out?
Ripped their driver out of the fucking mech.
I know, and you throw him against the wall. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and their mech's just sitting there, and I was like, "What the hell? That's crazy." It's what the coolest thing that I haven't seen since Quake or Unreal Tournament. And why I really, really like this game is the emergent shit that happens, and that is a very Battlefield 4, Battlefield type of thing, where all these emergent storylines come out of events that happen in your game.
Right.
But this game also caters to that, and it's all the amazing the parkour stuff. Some of the stuff that I did, I while I streamed it, I had this moment where I wall climbed a room and then accidentally jumped into the room that the control point was at, and just landed exactly where I wanted to be behind an enemy, shot him in the face and started taking over the control point. And it was all I did was scream. I freaked out on the stream. I was like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. Right. Because it seemed so deliberate and scripted that just to stumble on doing that myself, it's so fucking rewarding. I love that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of I used to play. There's two games I used to play a lot back in the day.
I'll be right back.
And the first one was Tribes.
Yes.
And that had the really organic kind of skiing where you hold down the jump button when you hit a slope, and you'll continue your momentum, and you'll just slide across it like a zero friction. And that's in addition to the jump packs as well. So you could slide down a slope, come back up, and then jump pack up. So you can get these crazy fast speeds by having zero friction, skiing down a slope, coming back up, hitting your jump pack at the right time, jump packing while skiing up a slope, and just kind of skyrocketing up. And in addition to with Unreal Tournament, you have the wall dodge. Whereas if you run up to a wall, jump towards it, double tap to the left, and you'll leap off the wall. And that also it's the same similar mode to the Titan mode, where you're in the Titan and you double tap any direction, you'll dodge that direction.
Oh yeah, well, those specific. I can't wait to see what other Titans can do, because I heard that's a loadout thing where you can get like maybe like 10 or 12 different kinds of things that maybe jump jets for your mech.
There's only one model of Titan. And
there are 3 models of Titan.
There's 3.
Well, there was only one in the demo.
Oh yeah.
No, there were all 3. The catch was that you could only use the other 2 if you had a burn card for it.
Okay. I never got a chance to play with the other 2.
Yeah, me either. It's a super rare burn card, at least in the beta.
Oh,
yeah, it's sort of that traversal ability that allows you to fluidly traverse the terrain in such a way that when you memorize the maps, in such a way that I was part of a Instagib low gravity, like 135 or percent speed, where it was basically sped up to the point where low gravity didn't feel like low gravity, jumped really far, and it gave you the option to like basically double jump and then bounce off a wall and do these crazy parkour moves with one-shot kills. And this created these really insane scenarios where you're trying to capture the flag, where you have people pulling off these technical jumps that are so insanely precise that if you tried to follow them, you would probably fail. Just because unless you were really trained to the path they were taking, you would probably follow to your death, or you just would not be able to keep up with them. And that's sort of like a little bit of what Titanfall brings back to me is these really technical, really fast-paced kind of parkour abilities, and with the double jump, with the jet jump, and the bouncing off the walls, running over the wall, and then jumping off of it. Like that allows you to do so much with like the fluid traversal of the terrain that you can really have these really cool, really powerful moments where you feel very empowered because you finally pulled something off you were intending to do. And you can think like, oh shit, this guy's running through this hallway here. You know what? I'm going to fucking go up here. If I can do this wall jump up here, I can get at top of him like a lot faster than get out this door and then shoot him from above. And then it just feels really good when you're able to execute that. Like, and it's so rewarding.
Well, that's the thing about
there's been so few games that have done that in like the past 5 to 10 years.
That's the thing about like Titanfall.
Amazed.
Like Titanfall, it's that cat. Like even when you're a pilot, like I think being a pilot on the ground is just as much fun as being in a Titan.
Oh, absolutely!
Because
like,
it's that cat and mouse.
Titan, like I would kick so much ass as I got into Titan. Like I would just destroy probably 5 different Titans before I got taken out.
Yeah.
But like even on the ground, it still feels fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's that cat and mouse gameplay, where you're jumping into a building and going down, and that's all about level design and creating enough pathways for the soldiers and pilots to go through. It's just so well done. It's like the thing that's great about Titanfall is that it's like it's so well designed and so well balanced. It's just sliced perfectly.
They really did a good job with balancing the different kind of gameplay between player being a pilot versus a Titan.
I am a little worried. Like if you look at there's a NeoGAF thread that has all of like the Titan weapons and pilot abilities and Titan abilities, and there's a lot of them, and they do a lot of different things. So I'm a little concerned about how that's going to affect balance once you start throwing all this other stuff into the mix,
especially with the cards.
I think they're going to do a good job with it. These guys have been like studying. The guys at Respawn and like their philosophy, from what I'm hearing, like in like podcasts and like articles that I'm reading, like they've been paying attention to like MOBAs and like all the competitive online competitive
the grunts,
sports games.
The minions, the grunts thing is totally a MOBA thing.
Yeah,
like
it's a MOBA thing.
It's totally a MOBA
thing. So they're studying this stuff and they're implementing it into this, and it could work. It's going to need balancing, I'm sure, but that's going to come with time and seeing how people use the tools that they allow, you know what I mean? But I think that's why, or that's the one thing that like we're not discussing that we kind of should be discussing more, journalists or like the media, gaming media at large. I think that's why that's 6-on-6, right? Like you can have a team.
Yeah.
Like me and 5 other of my friends could be on a team and we can go play competitive.
Yeah. No, a game like this needs a really good communication. which is why it's
Yeah,
important. And really,
it's easy to control 6.
yeah. And what this is like this is really a first-person MOBA, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't control your minions, but in a way, they sort of follow where you're going. It's sort of a first-person shooter MOBA.
In a very, very limited aspect, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, but I mean, you can see the inspiration.
Listen, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, what? It's an online game. Like, what stops them from saying, like, halfway through the lifespan of Titanfall, saying, "Hey, we invented this new game mode, and there's 6 new online maps, and it's literally just a MOBA map, like a hallway where like
3 different pathways.
They design a MOBA map, and like that would be awesome. Like, how come that doesn't exist yet? How come there isn't a first-person MOBA?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it would work.
Yeah. Totally.
It could work. It again.
Well, in a way,
depends on
actually,
the level
you know what? Think about this though. Think about the level. Which one is it? The one that's the broken, not the city one with the port and the not the one with the port and the park on either side, but the other one.
You're thinking of Fracture.
Think of Fracture. It is a 3-lane map. It has your center lane, your left lane, and your right lane. It's a fucking MOBA map.
Yeah,
I mean, in a way,
all you need is a base at a base at the end,
right?
Of each end
to recoup at and stuff, and that's it.
Which there is going to be a mode, I believe, called Capture the Titan.
Yeah, exactly. Capture the Titan or defend the Titan, right? So 1 Titan on each team on both ends, and you could actually move it. So you can move it into different lanes and actually move the lane. Like, you control which lane they need to attack. So that has potential to be really awesome.
It does. Oh, awesome.
The only frustrating thing for a lot of people is going to be that Titanfall comes out on the same day that Dark Souls 2 comes out.
I know. Oh, everyone's just gonna have to spend $120 that day.
I already pre-ordered Dark Souls 2.
Yes,
it's gonna happen. I am actually going back and forth. Should I get Dark Souls 2 for the PS3, or should I wait for the inevitable PS4 version?
You can't wait, Joseph.
Oh, man, I don't know.
You know why you can't wait? Did you buy Demon Souls when it first came out?
Demon Souls, I don't remember. Like maybe when it first came out. I think I got Demon Souls a little bit after that because it was getting a lot of hype.
Okay, so
Dark Souls I did.
Okay. Well, Dark Souls was already kind of like the experience was already like secondary to Demon Souls for me. But I remember like the first time I was introduced to the Souls franchise, like that first month where like every person you talked to had like it was like it was schoolyard gaming again, where someone was like, oh my god, like I talked to that dude and like I gave him this thing instead, and like, oh shit, I didn't know that happened, or I went to this place first, and I didn't go there, like so like the exploring and kind of fiddling through Dark Souls 2 and seeing what is what and what does what and learning, because you know how that series goes, like it doesn't tell you anything, it kind of leaves the community to inform the community.
Yeah, you're right.
So if you skimp out on it, by the time even a couple months, by the time you get to it and you're confused about something, online will have it. Yeah. Whereas in the first week of playing it, you're going to see on Twitter, like, hey, what does this do? Like, I don't know. None of us know. Like, oh, let's find out what this thing does, you know?
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. Oh, fuck. I'm so busy, though. I don't... Man, I'm so busy.
This is a problem you brought upon yourself.
I'm so busy, and now I'm poor because I have to go to San Francisco for a week. And it's like, I don't have the money for all that stuff to figure it out.
To stop slinging that crack.
I got to start sucking that dick.
So real quick, when is GDC?
March 17th to the 21st.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going. How long are you going to be there, Joseph?
March 16th to the 22nd.
Oh, so you're leaving Saturday.
I'm leaving Sunday.
You're leaving Friday, though, aren't you?
No, you're right. 20. So I am leaving on Friday. Right. So I'll be gone from the 6th.
Convince you to push that to the 22nd?
No.
Because I'm just saying.
Why?
The 21st is a Friday.
Yeah.
And you could have a special Cocktail Time Live
from GDC.
I
already bought my plane
with just you and Bob
And whatever
Like candlelight.
whatever developers we can round up. No, I've already bought my tickets. I can't. It's all done. It's a done deal.
Maybe we can switch the day for Cocktail Time Live.
We can do cocktail time like the next day on Saturday when we're both back.
Oh, or we could do it maybe like on Thursday.
Thursday?
Well, no, there's gonna be fucking parties on Thursday. Fucking parties like cray on Thursday.
Yeah, we're gonna be busy.
I just thought that it's so rare for you two to get together.
Oh, I know. Bob posted something a little while ago, so I might bring down my camera, so we might have videos that'll be posted on the Next Gen Pants website and stuff. So we'll have videos of us canoodling about. I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
I know what I'll do.
His home-crafted beer. Yeah. You bring your bottle opener. Have a sensual evening.
My big
together.
dick bottle opener, which I do have here. It's right next to me. There it is. My big dick. My big dick bottle opener.
I do have an amber that's currently fermenting.
Maybe I'll bring my PlayStation. There we go. I'll bring my PlayStation 4 and we'll set up like a playroom of our booth.
Oh God!
Let people watch. Or a playroom of our hotel. Our probably really shitty hotel.
Yeah, it's in the.
Well, what you could do is you could hook up the playroom camera and have it face your monitor, and then play through the Tetropolis demo.
We could watch other people do it. We'll figure. I'm not going to travel with my PS4 though. That's just asking for trouble.
I'll have a laptop and stream from there if you want.
Oh yeah, we could do a camera or something like that. So, all right, let's get into some news because we got a couple of news items we got to hit before we close this down. We're just about
absolutely do.
So let's go through them real fast.
Okay. Well, let's start off with the Order 1866. The first gameplay of the game came out this week.
Looks pretty good.
It looks fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
But I share Brad's concern that it looks extremely fucking linear and like a standard cover-based third-person shooter.
No, it is. It's a story-based, narrative-based cover shooter with QuickTime events. That's what it is. It's like, but you guys like Uncharted, and that's what Uncharted is.
Well, I mean, the stuff they showed, it literally was a corridor.
Well, you saw one scene in an alleyway.
I know. I want a better scope of the game, and I'm not getting that.
But you know what it is? It is a heavily narrative based. They go from cutscene directly into QTE, directly into combat. It's a narrative based game, and it's just that type of thing. So
yeah.
But it looks great. Looks great.
Yeah. FTL. We've received new information about their Advanced Edition expansion to the game. The new version of the game will include an alternate to the med bay called the Clone Bay, in which instead of healing your units, it'll actually spawn clones that...
What, OP? No, come on.
The only catch with it is that it doesn't heal your crewmen.
I don't know. That's taking away some of the...
Wait, no. So your crew members can never heal again, or
your crew members only heal when you move on to the next sector.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I can see that kind of be balancing.
And it takes time to grow your clone too. So, and your clone loses that character's skills.
Okay, that's better.
Okay, yeah.
So you got to worry about that. There's also you can also now use hacking drones to hack enemy vessels, which will turn them off, if not make them malfunction. With a small possibility of making enemy drones explode.
Nice.
They're adding mind control, so you can actually turn enemies into allies.
Okay. Can you do that once Can you do that once they've boarded?
Whenever.
Okay.
Just as long as you have an eye on an enemy.
Well, that's good.
You have to have complete vision on an enemy in order to mind control them.
I see. Okay.
And they're adding a new race of aliens. They're adding a new subsystem of a backup battery in case you find yourself running low on power during the middle of battle. The catch is that backup battery only lasts a certain amount of time. And there's a few other things they're doing. A couple new ships as well. But yeah, they're really expanding this, and this is going to be free.
Oh, I like the free. I like free.
Yeah, as
Free.
long as you own a copy of the game, you get it for free.
Free is my favorite part.
Free is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that should be coming out, I believe, this summer.
Okay.
So keep that. God damn it!
Hit your
Google
button. Hit your button.
Yeah. All right. Daylight. That's a game that's kind of been in the dark for a little bit.
Oh, that was a pun you just did.
Oh,
Actually, it was an entirely unintended pun. I didn't mean to make
That was a
that.
pun.
did Ubisoft making that?
No.
No, it's an indie team, Zombie Studios.
Yeah, they're in Seattle,
Damn.
actually.
Wait, what the fuck? I was thinking like the parkour zombie game. What the fuck?
You're
No,
thinking of
that's
Rising
Deadlight?
Dead Light.
No. Deadlight was the side-scrolling.
That's you're
zombie
thinking
game.
of Zombie
Dying Light.
Dying Light.
Dying
There's a lot
Light,
of
Dying
deads
Light.
and
What the
lights.
fuck? Seriously, come on, fucking people!
I know.
Jesus
Maybe convention.
Christ, dying light!
Daylight,
Dying Light.
Dead Light.
Yeah.
Seriously, fucking name your games other than something than dying and light, or something to do with death and light.
I tell you what,
or zombie, or death, or
I might-
darkness.
and my video game collection is in alphabetical order, and my D section's really long.
Well, Joseph, it is very, very well known that you love the D.
I do love the D. My D is
Lord
really
damn.
long. I mean, it's got Dead Rising, it's got Dark Souls, it's got Demon Souls, it's got
Dragon's Dogma.
Dragon's Dogma, it's got Dead Island. It just goes on and on.
Daylight. Oh, this is where they're exploring the
Jessica
the
Chobot
asylum.
wrote it.
Yeah, it's written and voiced by Jessica Chobot. It's a procedurally generated horror game.
Wait, it's written by Jessica Chobot?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
wrote it.
Really?
I
First,
didn't know
like-
that.
Oh.
Yeah,
We saw this at like PAX East last year.
yeah.
And Prime.
Yep.
But yeah, it's again a procedurally generated horror game where you have to just explore the environment and survive as long as you can. It's got a great sound design. I remember that. That was the most amazing thing for me. But it's coming out April 8th for $15 on PS4 and PC, and they announced that. So we're going to talk about Twitch Plays Pokemon in a moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
But
they've
it's
announced that there's Twitter integration and interaction.
Yeah, right.
So
Twitch,
what you'll
not
be able
Twitter,
to do,
not
in addition
Twitter,
to streaming
Twitch.
the game,
Not Twitter, Twitch.
Which-
You said Twitter. It's Twitch.
Twitch. Sorry,
Twitch
Twitch.
interaction.
You'll be able to stream the game on Twitch natively, but you'll also be able to have Twitch interact with
Right.
the game. So if people in chat say a certain command in the game, it'll actually affect the game.
Right.
No one will stream ever.
Okay.
So if you go, if you play this, so if you watch games on the PS4, right? If you watch streaming on the PS4, there's actually a section called interactive, and what you do is you go to the interactive thing, and while you're watching, there's a menu, and the menu will have different phrases you can say, and so the more people that say whichever phrase, that will happen in the game, is what it is.
So I think we should just go right into Twitch Plays Pokemon.
No, that's
going
what
to
it
be
is.
the
That's kind
next
of what it
big
is.
thing, dude. This is huge. This blew the fuck up. Now Twitch is playing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually Twitch Plays Pokemon Plays Tetris right
Yeah.
now.
Well, that is the extent that that's just what they did.
Yeah, but I mean, Twitch. I'm really surprised by Twitch Plays Pokemon. I would have thought that this was like 100,000 monkeys on a typewriter trying to make Shakespeare, but it's actually working out, especially with the couple of the updates the creator has put into it.
Right.
With the democracy versus anarchy.
Yeah.
Whereas people can actually
Vote
to what is done as opposed to it just inputting any fucking command from Twitch.
Yeah, and in fact, they did something today that boggled my mind. They actually beat the Safari Zone. And I just, in case you don't know what the Safari Zone is, it's a section of the original Pokemon games, Blue and Red, in which you had to go in there, and it was basically an area where you can't do Pokemon fights, but you can actually capture Pokemon. And hidden within there were a couple of critical items in order to advance throughout the map, including like the surf ability. Well, the catch with the Safari Zone is that it's got a 500-step limit before it sends you back to the starting point. And with Anarchy mode, I think that's goddamn impossible. But they were able to do it with Democracy.
Right.
And it blew my goddamn mind.
This is only going to get better. Like, think about it. Like, once they write an algorithm that lets majority rule, you know what I mean? Right. And, like, everyone could type in whatever the fuck they want.
Maybe it's like
majority
this is the future of multiplayer.
Yeah, well, it's just really neat. Like, it's such a great social experiment. It makes me excited about like games and like how they're going to work. Maybe in the future, even more still. Yeah, it's no longer even a single. It's like everybody can play. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree. It's a great idea. I just think it has very limited applications as to how you could take an existing game and make that work with it.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that Twitch plays Pokemon is as big as it is because it's a very beloved franchise.
Mm-hmm. It's a beloved franchise, and it's literally just exploded in popularity due to, in part, I think, just the social interaction between people.
Yeah,
the memes and the heavily invested lore that has been built up in the past 9 days has been insane.
Yeah, even like on Imgur, there's fucking videos or gifs or images of like cults popping up like left and right for like the Helix, and it's like little memes based on the fucking game. Like it's insane, like how much it's kind of being pervasive on other social media.
It's hive mind, is what it's like. The Borg making things happen.
So here's some like cool ideas of things that I'm hearing from other developers like over Twitch, over Twitter, of saying like, what about when someone makes a game that you can only play once and it goes up on Twitch and that's the only time you'll get to experience it. So you'll have to be a part of it. And like, you know what I mean? Like, what about the cool situations where like it's going to be a singular experience once and one time only that's going to make this story about how all these kids came together to play this game, and like, you know, how you only get to play it once a year or whenever this guy wants to let people play it. Like, that's the cool stuff that's interesting.
If I had more time, I'd totally game jam that and then throw it up on their Twitch.
Yeah, it seems really, really neat.
Yeah.
Twitch plays Tetropolis, has a ring to it.
Oh, God. I'm going to die so many times. Anyway, we need to move on beyond that. Sorry. Let's see. How about some Gearbox news?
Oh, God. Hey, wait, hold on.
What?
Does it have to do with BioShock? Not BioShock. I mean, I always get BioShock and Borderlands mixed up.
What? How can you get those?
I always get them mixed up. Whatever. It's the bees. So wait, isn't Gearbox Talk banned on this show until they officially apologize for Colonial Marines?
This is actually good news to know about.
No, I know I think Gearbox News is officially banned from the show until they come out and apologize for Colonial Marines.
Well, they're not going to.
And then we have to move on.
Well,
next news story.
I want it. Fine. Okay, look, this is something I think people.
I'll just play music until you're done. I'm just gonna play this till you're done.
Footage of me getting fucked in the ass.
Homeworld.
Yes, there is documented footage of me getting fucked in the ass.
Oh, it's Homeworld. Okay, you can talk about Homeworld.
Thank you, God, and fuck you for still keeping it. So because of the THQ Fallout, they bought the Homeworld license.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
Homeworld.
Internally, they're actually, according to Pitchford, they are remastering the original Homeworld and Homeworld 2.
That's awesome.
Oh yes,
I like that.
And they're not just porting it; they're fully remastering it. they're doing like 4K upscaling of the original textures. They contacted the original audio guys that made the first two games, and they're having them remaster all the audio. Mm-hmm. This game will be a 4K game.
Okay.
Sounds...
Man, Homeworld.
So how long before the first-person shooter?
Oh, well, knowing Gearbox, I would think 2 years, but still.
We'll see.
But no, there's no official release date, but you should know that the 15th anniversary of Homeworld is this September.
Oh, really?
Wow. So I think we'll be seeing it this year.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's it for Gearbox news.
Okay, moving on.
Okay. Irrational.
Yes, they're shut down.
Had a bad week.
They're gone.
Yeah. Evidently, according to Ken Levine and 2K, the studio has been effectively shut down. Only 15 members of Irrational Games will be staying on.
Yeah. Basically, they didn't sell enough BioShock, and you know, there was a great article in Gama Sutra written by Colette. What's her last name again? Jeff. What's her last name again? Colette.
Bennett.
Colette Bennett. Which is really great and kind of goes into it, and it talks about, you know, how the BioShock development went into a lot of overruns and all this kind of stuff, and they just couldn't recoup what they made. And it was sort of an inside thing known within Irrational that if it didn't sell well, the studio wouldn't really be around for very much longer, which is really, really unfortunate. I know a lot of people are kind of blaming, or sort of knee-jerk reaction blaming Ken Levine for this, but I don't think you can blame Ken Levine for this. I don't think he had the option of just leaving that studio with 15 people. I think there was a lot of contractual obligations and agreements he had with 2K that meant that studio had to shut down. I think a lot of this falls on the shoulders of 2K rather than it falling on the shoulders of Ken Levine, honestly.
Yeah, I'm thinking they probably pulled a Capcom, made incredibly large sales projections that there's no way BioShock Infinite can meet.
I was seeing numbers about BioShock Infinite around $200 million.
That, including marketing and all that, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Because if you recall just how much marketing went into BioShock Infinite, especially like in the first 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good God in heaven.
Well, remember that game was in development for 6 years or so. And a lot of money was spent. And there was a lot of stuff that was, you know, created and then ripped apart and thrown away, and there was a lot of really false starts. And according to the article from Colette, was that when, I forget the gentleman's name, but he moved from Epic to Irrational Games, is that he was brought in to sort of get everything in order and get the game out, because it was sort of
fixer.
He was a fixer because it was sort of in this development production hell at that point. So, and you can see it. I mean, you look at the game when you play it. There's a lot of ideas you saw in the beginning trailers and the first trailers that never made it into the game. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we were like, why wasn't this in there? Why wasn't this Elizabeth thing in there? And one of my main complaints with BioShock Infinite was how poorly and how, you know, shoddily her powers were handled during combat. I remember saying this when we were talking about the game when it came out. I was like, you know, I personally liked the game, but I was upset that Elizabeth's powers were pretty much limited to, oh, you see that thing over there? You can make it appear. And I thought, wow, that's so shoddy compared to what I thought this was going to be. But again, that was due to the fact that a lot of these production problems occurred. So
yeah, and we'll see at least some of those original aspects, I'm thinking, implemented into the episode 2 of Burial at Sea.
That's what they say. They say a lot of the stuff that was meant to be included in Infinite and that was finished but torn out was eventually put into Burial at Sea DLC.
The game could have been like, I thought like we were going to be able to travel between time, like, but the way they showed like the riffs at first, you know,
go to the 80s,
like 1980s and shit, you know.
And I think it was, and they
just
never made it work, you know.
Yeah, I'm looking at the poster I got from GDC. I got GDC on the mind. Probably PAX East of 2012,
right.
Because the date on this poster it says it's being released in October 16th of 2012.
Mm-hmm. No.
That was a very early poster.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even have the bird or the cage brooch on her neck.
Oh, wow, yeah.
This is a really early poster.
Yeah. And Delago says it right. Delago in chat right now. He says Elizabeth sounded like such an important gameplay element, but she devolved into an item dispenser. And
Exactly, yeah.
That's so true. That's so true. That kind of nails it.
Yeah.
It seems like there was a lot more to the gameplay mechanics than what eventually came out. Like, they're mentioning the closure of the studios that they cut so much content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right, next item.
I got two more things for you. Number one, Google has announced a preliminary list of 34 cities that they plan to see about expanding Google Fiber into by the end of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, one of them is not San Francisco, and the other is not Seattle. So I apologize for
Wasn't
you two.
Seattle on that list?
No, it is not.
No, but we had this conversation about Google Fiber, and it was coming to Seattle, or some high-speed thing was coming to Seattle.
Well, no, there's a local municipality that was attempting to put in a 1 gigabit internet speed for Seattle, and that was denied by the city council. So you're fucked.
Fuckers.
Sorry.
Man, why?
Why?
Because politics.
Son of a bitches.
I'd
Yeah.
assume budget.
Yeah.
I'm thinking because Comcast.
Yeah, I mean, my only option up here is Comcast.
That's what we have.
it.
Yeah, examples of where they plan to expand is the greater Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, Salt Lake City, Phoenix, San Antonio, San Jose, and Portland areas, with other areas in Arizona, California, Georgia, North Carolina, Oregon, Tennessee, and that's pretty much it.
All right.
At least through the end of 2014, that's where they plan to announce.
Yeah, but it'll probably be interesting in the next 5 years when Comcast, Time Warner, and AT&T would have to start to compete.
Actually,
Yeah.
Comcast just bought Time Warner, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, no, they're planning on merging with Time Warner.
Yeah, so fuck that.
And so here's where it kind of gets interesting, at least for Austin. So Austin is pretty much a 95% Time Warner market.
Yeah.
And the reason Comcast and Time Warner are merging isn't really because of the money factor. It's because they can triple their coverage areas, because Time Warner and Comcast have very few areas in the United States where they actually have to compete with one another.
Right.
So they're expanding their coverage areas. But ahead of the Google Fiber announcements, in anticipation for that, as well as what AT&T is doing with Fios and what you got with Grande Communications, a few others, they're actually stepping up and fulfilling their obligations as to upgrading their infrastructure. So for Austin, starting this summer, everybody who has a internet plan will be able to see a significant upgrade in their speeds. For example, my plan is 30 downstream and 5 up as far as megabit. This summer, it's going to go from that to 220.
Well, they're saving
And
they're saving money because they can throttle Netflix now.
Well, yeah, there's there's a little bit of that, yeah, but
I've been getting shit quality from Comcast recently. I think it's mostly because of throttling.
yeah,
It's
but
bad.
yeah, but the thing is, Time Warner's doing this because they anticipate a significant stock hit ahead of the Comcast merger. So for once, the consumer is actually kind of benefiting from this.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. How it
So
goes.
anyway, and this should be spreading to other cities in which Time Warner's in. So, just thought I should throw that out there.
All right. What else we got? One more thing.
Last one, and it's the thing that we opened the show on: Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Yeah. So there was a new trailer that came out, and it. I've seen a bunch of this behind closed doors at E3, and
Even played it.
Yep, even played it. But I was mostly like I wanted to tell. my main thing is that I wanted to let people know how good the story seemed and how good the cutscenes and the characters seemed. And even as good as the new trailer is, which it's really awesome, it still doesn't do it justice, I don't think.
No, it doesn't.
You know, like that one scene with the woman and the gun, and then moving on to BJ Blazkowicz with the woman he was supposed to bunk with, and that sexually tense scene where they have to share a room together was so subtle and so good and so well done that I don't think people are prepared yet for how good some of the story elements are going to be in this game.
Bethesda and ZeniMax, they really have to up the marketing budget for this game because it is so good. Those are two great scenes. Another two great scenes that I've played through was the end of the first level of the game, in which you actually interact with General Death's Head.
Oh, right.
And try to escape from the castle, and it's a fucking great scene. And then leading into that from the second level is when. Blazkowicz. So the backstory is Blazkowicz suffers some head trauma, and he becomes near comatose for 15 years.
What?
And he's taking care of an American hospital for people with disabilities and mental problems. And he's conscious of his surroundings, but he can't move, and he has very little ability to process the passage of time.
He's like catatonic, right?
He's very catatonic.
I think it's called being locked in.
Is that what it's called? Locked in?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, and so there's at the end of that cut scene, he's narrating this the entire time in this really sad tone of voice, just monitoring just how much he knows about the world.
The voice actor for BJ Blazkowicz is really good too. I mean,
it's really good.
It's all good.
I think he's got the full range of what the character could be about. And the Nazis come in and they decide to kill all the people inside there. They fucking kill the head nurse's parents and punch her in the face and drag her out. And just the anger you can see developing in him, and just what he does in those next few seconds is just so awesome.
Yeah, and I mean the gameplay seems really fun. I played through a whole big level. There's different like pathways and different ways to do stuff. You can,
there's tons of hidden secrets.
Yeah, I mean there's one point where I'm fighting this giant mech, and you can either go at it face to face. Or at one point, I went around the side of the level, I found this vent, I went through this whole vent system, and then I found a place where I could be above the mech, and I could shoot at another chain that was holding a giant airplane on the ceiling, and you can drop the airplane onto the mech. So you can either like go face-to-face, or you can kind of go stealth. There's so much cool stuff in this game that I've seen so far that I'm really, really excited about it. And I said, I don't think people realize yet how high of a quality this is going to be.
No, they do not, and it's a real shame. And plus, it's from members of the original Starbreeze team, the guys who worked on The Darkness and the Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, and those are great games.
These are talented people, and they're making a fantastic game.
And I would think the original Darkness and Riddick are some of the most underrated games out there. Definitely on the top 10 list.
Oh, especially The Darkness for me, the way they handled it. But yeah, they showed off a new trailer. They announced the release date for the game, which is May 20th in North America. 3 days later, of course, in Europe. And they also announced those who buy the game at launch will, since Wolfenstein is not a multiplayer game, it's entirely single player. They will be including access in the future to the next Doom games beta.
Oh yeah, I know. That was such a surprise to me. That was a surprise to everybody, I think. It's like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Oh, man. I don't know, man. I'm happy for you, but I would approach it with some trepidation, considering Carmack is nowhere to be found anymore.
I don't think Carmack was ever... He was a large figurehead. He is the face of the technology side of id.
Yeah.
I don't think he was ever like the face of the actual brands and the games.
No,
that
I
they
know.
made.
In fact, I think he's been making rockets for a long time, so I agree. But we'll see. I'm apprehensive about it. But I'm looking forward to it. I'll be pre-ordering Wolfenstein. I'll be getting into the Doom beta with you. We'll be talking about that, I'm sure, on that cocktail time. But you know what's really interesting real quick before we finish this out, when you mentioned that Carmack wasn't really part of it and all that kind of stuff. Not saying this next person I'm going to talk about wasn't part of it, but Cliff Bleszinski did an interview this week or last week with Gama Sutra, and he pretty much talked about how he hated Gears of War and how he wasn't happy with the way Gears of War turned out, and it wasn't the game he wanted to make, and how he doesn't want Gears of War to be his legacy. And he's going to try to do something else. It's really interesting. He kind of came out and he's like, he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, what Gears of War turned into wasn't the game I really pitched. I wanted it to be more of like Band of Brothers, but it turned out, and I think the quote is him saying, it really was just you shooting fucking lizardmen in the face, and that was it. And he hated the fact that the guys are all big and buff and all this stuff. It was kind of an interesting thing for him to say after the fact.
Yeah, no, this is a case with, I'm assuming, like 90% of game development, because you start out with a game pitch and you have just this fucking phenomenal idea of just how far this grand scope can be. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you just got to keep cutting it down.
Well, it's not even grand scope, but like basic things about look and whatnot. I remember even before he left Epic, and it was shortly before he left Epic, and you can tell he was sort of finding his oats a little more, because he probably knew he was going to be gone. And people, when Gears of War 3 kind of came out, people would make comments about like, so what's with like the big buff characters and stuff, and he would actually say like, that was not my decision. Like I never wanted them to look like that. That was someone else's decision, which is kind of weird to say, because people think of Cliffy B. You think, well, he's Gears of War, so everything he said must have went, and that's not how it went.
Because people don't know how games are made. Like when you're working at that level, like there's hundreds of people making decisions on that one thing, that one product. Yeah. So like it's so hard to manage, 10 people, never mind 100 people. And so the vision that you start with, it never, when 100 people touch it, now it's completely different.
And not only that, but you have the publisher who is paying you, and they have to making the final decision.
Sure.
He was making that game pretty much for Microsoft. And if he goes to Microsoft with these character models and Microsoft says, no, we want them big and buff, he's really got no other choice but to make them big and buff, because they are providing the money.
Yeah.
So it was just an interesting. I think people should read it on Gama Sutra. It was kind of an interesting look. It'll be good to see what he does next. I think we've seen sort of a diluted Cliffy B. We really haven't seen real Cliffy B since the 90s. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do now that he's out and about on his own, going to make his own game. So.
People tend to forget, like, Cliffy B is responsible for some pretty.
No,
he's worked on some pretty great.
He's not bullshit. Like he's sort of like Cliffy B. He's sort of like the Justin Timberlake of video game development, or he's sort of all flash, but no one thinks he can really play. But Justin Timberlake can fucking play. He's actually a musical savant in a lot of ways. And Cliffy B's kind of like that. Like, he's all flash, and he's got like the 20-year-old blonde wife and the Lamborghini, orange Lamborghini. And I think people see that shit and they're like, oh, he's just all flash. He can't really make games. He just made games because he was with Epic. But he can make fucking games. He published his first game when he was 19 years old. So I think people don't give him enough credit. And and some of that is kind of his own fault. I think he kind of. He calls himself the Iron Man guy. What's Iron Man's name? His real name?
Tony Stark.
Yeah, he calls himself the Tony Stark of video games. So I think some of that he brings upon himself with his visage, but he's the shit, and he can do stuff. And I look forward to seeing what he can do now that he's kind of on his own. So he just comes off like a douche, but I'm sure he's a cool guy. He's actually as he's gotten older, he's gotten like much more down to earth. I think, over the years, which I think happens to all of us.
Well, I think it also helps that he's really no longer in the spotlight.
No, he's as much in the spotlight as he ever was. He is. He always will be. No,
I'm just saying he's not what he was, 5 years ago, standing in front of a 10,000 journalists at E3 and presenting a game. He's now just he's working on his own game in his own studio, doing what he wants, and most of his presence is through social media. That's about it.
Well, yeah, that's all he, that's what he does. You do what you can do. So, anyway, all right. Is that it? Are we done?
That's pretty much it.
All right, let's do our final thoughts of the evening. Our cocktail time chaser. I'll go first. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm really worried about Thief. I really want to like Thief. I really want Thief to do well. I love Deus Ex Human Revolution, but my overwhelming thought at the end of this show is that, god damn it, I had really high hopes for it, and I'm worried about it. I'm hoping I'm wrong. It looked great. It seemed to have some of the same mechanics that I thought were really good. It's just, I don't know. I'm not even sure what I want out of a Thief game now. And it sounds awful since I played Dishonored. I'm just not even sure what I want out of it. So I'm just going to purchase it, I'm going to play it, and we'll see what I do. But I'm just worried. Anyway, that's my final thought. Chris Davis.
Well, I feel sorry for you that you have this fear, because I'm actually anticipating a pretty decent game.
Okay.
But my final thought is that 82 days from now, I may be dead. I'm sorry, but I just may be dead.
Cancer?
Because the new Godzilla film is scheduled to come out.
Oh, shit. You're counting down 80-something days out.
We're 82 days and change, and I need this in my life, and if this turns out terrible, I need to be kept away from sharp objects.
I think that you should go...
you think you have something to worry about? I'm goddamn terrified.
I think you should go to the opening night of the Godzilla movie dressed like Godzilla, in a Godzilla outfit, a felt Godzilla outfit.
Well, I'll definitely be wearing a shirt, I'll tell you that.
You need to go for the gusto. Go for the gusto. Bob!
There's so much that's been going on this week that I've just been kind of on stimulation overdrive. I'm turning 31 tomorrow.
Oh, that's right! It's your birthday tomorrow. I forgot.
Oh, shit!
Everybody, it's Bob's birthday tomorrow. He turns 31. He's getting fucking old.
Yeah, but also I love my team because Matt, who's Twisted Mafu in chat, who's been watching pretty much most of the night, just sent me sound effects for the game about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, nice. So
it just everybody's so dedicated to this. It just makes me so proud that I'm working on this with everybody. That's on the team. We're on GDC in 3 weeks. We got until GDC. Yeah, 3 weeks. So. And it's been amazing. I hope that I can live up to expectations. Oh, you've been doing more than that. Even though you're old now. Yeah. Even your old bones can still code. Jesus Christ, when did that happen? Oh, wait 4 more years. Yeah. Really starts to wear it down. All right. It really hit me when I was 30. I was like, oh god, I'm fucking 30 years old. 30 Jesus Christ. 30 was easy for me because I think I was drunk through most of it. I'll work on that. There you go. All right, Jeff, what are your final thoughts?
I'm kind of with Bob. I just thinking a lot about the game and the work that has to be done with it, and my mind's kind of always on it. And even now, when I'm playing games for fun, I'm I have such a hard time of not looking at it as a designer now, and trying to see how things work or why they're done, and just development in general is kind of consumed what video games are for me in the last like 6-7 months.
Yeah.
That it's weird and it's cool. Like today with all the Twitter love and like seeing you get excited, Joseph, about like being on Polygon and like holy shit, like the game's name is on Polygon. I know that's nothing really, but it feels legit now. You know what I mean? It just is this weird. It's like the fog in Dark Souls. Like once you walk through it, like you finally see what's on the other side, and what's on the other side is not always a boss battle.
Right.
So it's interesting, and it's fun. I'm with you, Bob, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday. All right, everybody, thanks so much for coming out to Cocktail Time Live here at 4playernetwork.com. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chris. Make sure you all come out and watch us next week, next Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific. We'll be doing this again. And make sure you check out the main website at 4playernetwork.com. You have a good night and a good weekend.